Maguire, and number 22 is John Evans. So if you had a biro there, that might have been helpful for those people listening at the ground. But I guess, Jock, 98% of people will be listening on their car radio or doing the gardening or sitting inside and with the screen on watching the Sydney boys and with the radio on listening to the mighty Bendigo Geelong clash.
All right, Richard, can Bendigo get up and win the game this afternoon?
Well, I'm firmly convinced that they can, Jock. I think that with the professionalism that the Bendigo League off-field support group has built up, and of course the professionalism of coach Neville Strosh and his selectors, they really have worked hard on this team. After last year's loss at Geelong, as Shane said, we saw a couple of good players down there. Watson, as he mentioned, was probably one of their best players. Mal Eddy did a great job around the packs. But after that particular debacle, we've bounced back very well this year. We beat Goulburn Valley in a pretty tight game at Shepparton to win the first round match. We came up, then we went to Albury and played at Lavington, the suburb just out of Albury, and we beat them there on a shocking wet day, drizzling rain all day and very, very, very cold. And we won that game quite convincingly in my eyes with a couple of lovely goals in the last quarter to Russell Parks. As I think you mentioned on the program yesterday morning, he took one of the best marks you'd ever see from a centre-half forward, dry day or wet day. And Russell Parks will be a key man to get again today. But as I was saying, the professionalism of the selection committee, this group is a pretty tight-knit group and has been together for 5 matches, the 6th match in 2 years for 75% of these players out here today for Bendigo. I think we've got the players who can win.
Shane, last year down at Geelong, we were beaten by a side that were far too physically strong for us. Looking at the Geelong side going through their paces out there now, they're certainly a big, strong side and certainly a stronger looking physically side than Bendigo. Have we picked a side that can get up?
Oh yes, because we're playing on the Queen Elizabeth Oval this year, and it's been proven time and time again, and it was proven just a half an hour ago in an under-18 match that unless you pick a side of runners, that brute physical strength is not going to get you through on a ground like this. As Dean Strosh, who's down at Carlton, walks past me. So I'd say yes, Geelong do look that little bit physically stronger again, probably just a shade taller again, as was the case last year. But I'd question Richard's use of the word debacle a few minutes ago. I mean, I look back to halfway through the third quarter last year when Bendigo were within a goal, and that man we spoke of just a moment ago, Dean Strosh, gave away what I believed at the time was a pretty critical 50-metre penalty. OK, the floodgates opened then, but how many games have we seen between evenly matched sides over the years, country or VFL, where just a small burst in a certain quarter, and often it's the third, the premiership quarter as they call it, can win or lose a game of footy? And I believe that's what happened last year, that the side that was going to get that break and just be able to get that 4 or 5 goal lead was going to win it. It was Geelong that day, and in front of their home crowd, and probably they were just slightly the better side, they were able to go on and win the game, and as Richard said, pretty easily in the end. But I don't think we can look back to last year and say it was a debacle and that Bendigo was just totally outclassed. They were beaten by a better side in the day. The home ground advantage had a lot to do with it. I believe this year they've come a lot further. Geelong have got to come away from home this year, and I believe there's one critical aspect that we haven't looked at. Geelong's 2 wins, one at St Arnaud, the other at Dimboola. Nothing against the North Central or the Wimmera football leagues, but you wouldn't class them as stronger leagues as Goulburn Valley or Ovens and Murray. And Geelong have done theirs pretty easy. I think it was 6 or 7 goals at St Arnaud.
No, I think it was closer than that, Shane. It was only about 4.
All right. But it was a good 10-goal win down at Dimboola. And I just wonder if they've had to go through the toughness and the hard fights that Bendigo's had to go through. And I think that might really stand Bendigo in good stead in this game.
All right, toss has been made. Mick Lenigan from Geelong has won the toss, and the Geelong Football League will kick to the city end goal at the Queen Elizabeth Oval in the first quarter. Billy, you've got some details there from the under-18 curtain raiser.
Yes, thanks, Jock. That final score again, repeating that, Bendigo 8-12-60 were defeated by Ballarat 12-13-85. Best players for Ballarat were Matt Isley, Mick Shield, Wayne Loader and Chris Hills, while the best for Bendigo were Matt Dobell, Jared Mitchell, Travis Sinclair and Jason Hibbert. Goal scorers for Ballarat were Matt Isley, 3, Wayne Loader, 3, Gary Cleary, 2, Sean Holloway, 1, Michael Shield, Scott Robe and Steve McCarty, 1, while for Bendigo, Paul Keating and Jared Mitchell, 2 apiece, and 1 each to Glenn Carson, Jason Hibbert, Greg Bazat and Brad Day.
All right, we'll cross back to the studio for a very quick mention of our valuable sponsors and be back to the start of the big action Vic Health Country Championships Grand Final.
Half of Country Football League
Jock, after goals, are you using Bill and Paul? You are, right.
I'm sure each team will be looking to pick up the respective winners' check at the end of today. Congratulations to both teams, and we're looking forward to a great game, and thanks once again to the Big
Make sure we get interchanges, you know, any behind play. Are you monitoring Melbourne as well?
Starting time. Will you please stand for the national anthem, which will signify the start of the match? Thank you.
That's Evans, the big bloke with the bicycle shorts on underneath his shorts, number 22. Must have a Cook fly or something, Cook Hammy.
He might have ridden that.
Yeah.
Awards have been presented and completed. The national anthem has been played and sides are together now in a final huddle for some last-minute instructions before this game gets underway. Well, I'll go with Shane and Richard, and I firmly believe I'm tipping with my head, not my heart, when I say I feel Bendigo have picked a side that will get up this afternoon, suited to the Queen Elizabeth Oval, playing in front of a home ground on a dry day. The game will be played on top of the ground, and I believe Bendigo will never ever get a better chance of winning a country championship.
The ground's in great condition, except for the cricket pitches at either centre half forward, and even there it's only a little bit on the gluey side. I was at Windy Hill yesterday, and this ground has come up magnificently compared to a number of the grounds in Melbourne, and I'd say we've had just as much rain in the area, so it's a credit really to those people looking after this magnificent showcase of country football. The Geelong boys just in a huddle there under Terry Emon's guidance before they break. This is a great game for the two captains, Richard, Hartley and Lenigan. Looking back to their Sandhurst under-18 days, I guess 12 years ago they wouldn't have thought they'd be here on this same ground as opposing captains.
Certainly, Shane, I agree. We did a story during the week about the importance of the game to both players, and of course they've both been great footballers in the country and both have had VFL experience. And as we talk, Mick Lenigan's just getting a last little rub down from the Geelong trainer. I saw big Johnny Williams, of course, who we called the game in 1983 when he played in the grand final for Golden Square against Sandhurst that day. Sandhurst won by 7 points. Big Johnny Williams, by Jesus, a fair bit of him. And I was just looking out here to player number 22, John Evans, the centre half forward for Geelong. He's got a pair of those very fashionable now bike shorts underneath his playing shorts, so maybe he's got a bit of a worry with the leg, but he's lined up on Lowry.
All right, players in position now. The boundary umpires have gone out, and umpire Byers has the football in the centre of the ground. We're seconds away from a start, and things look pretty much the way they were. The teams were given to us. Patterson in ruck for Bendigo. He'll be opposed by big Brad Furman. John Williams looking a little bit portly around the middle, I would say, in the centre for Geelong.
That's an understatement.
Opposed by Peter Bradbury. There's the bounce in the centre by umpire Byers. Patterson, first tap for Bendigo. Bradbury in there, can't get it out. Parks works hard. The ball goes wide to Mark Clue. Gets a long hand pass. It's at half forward for Bendigo. Chance for Tyak. Does it nicely, but he's collared. Whistle on play. Umpires paid a free kick. It'll go to Peter Tyak, the little rover for Bendigo. Caught too high, and he'll kick from the 50-metre mark. Peter Tyak goes long into a wall of players. Nobody can mark. Chance for Geelong to clear, but it comes back to Tyak. He's dispossessed. Coming through Williams for Geelong. Takes the football. Kicks over the centre of the ground. Up to half forward. Hartney's there for Bendigo. Got support from Matt Allen, but he overruns the football. A chance going through for Geelong for Nichols. He picks it up. He's dispossessed. In there, Chris Green battling hard. Taps to McDougall. McDougall long to Hartney. In the back pocket, Hartney's collared. Gets a kick away towards the boundary line. It's at half forward now for Geelong. A chance for Alan Patterson. He swings inboard on the left foot. Poor kick, and it goes to Brad Furman, centre wing grandstand side. Furman now drives Geelong into attack. Up to centre half forward looking for Tyken. Fisted away by Andrew McDougall. Hartney dives on top of the football. Whistle on play. And the ball will be bounced 40 metres out from the Geelong goal. Directly in front. Geelong kicking to the city end goal in this first quarter. Bendigo kicking to the Barnard Street end. Minute gone, first term, no score. Umpire Byers bounces it. Patterson wins it again nicely, but it's taken by Williams of Geelong. A snap towards goal is offline. It won't make the distance, and Andrew McDougall sees it over the line and out of bounds for a throw-in about 10 metres around from Geelong's behind post. Fast and furious opening here with the ball going from one end of the Queen Elizabeth Oval to the other in a matter of seconds. From the throw-in, Patterson over the back. No ruckman wins an effective tap. In there on the ground battling hard, Harris for Bendigo. He can't take it out. Having an airy was Mal-Eddy, the rover from Geelong, but another whistle on play, stacks on the mill, and the umpire will bounce it. Still in Geelong's forward pocket. Chance for them to score would only be about 15 metres out from their goal. Bendigo defending very grimly at this stage. Patterson wins another one. He started well in the ruck. Harris can't take it. Going through Nichols for Geelong. Was he grabbed without it? No, says the umpire. A chance for Bendigo to run it out. The kick goes over the top of Bradbury's head. It's taken by Appleford. Appleford goes short. Can't find a teammate in Pat Brosnan. Now he gets it clear, Brosnan. Over in the direction of Tyquin. Whistle on play, and it's a Geelong free kick. A Geelong free kick 40 metres out directly in front. The player to take it down there looks like will be Ron Watt. Number 9, Ron Watt for Geelong.
He was doing the shepherding, Jock, and Chris Green came over the top, and it was a fairly crude one from Green.
Well, Watt's got the chance from 40 metres directly in front to put the first score on the board in the grand final. In he comes. Distance is not a problem. How's the accuracy? The goal umpire goes across and signals it's there. It's a 6-pointer. And the first blood to Geelong. One straight goal, leading Bendigo yet to score on the Tube Makers scoreboard.
Handy goal, that one, for the Geelong side. When you're a visiting side in a country grand final, it's always very, very difficult to get the first goal of the day, and that's going to give them a lot of confidence.
Still a few nerves being shown by the Bendigo players at the moment. A bit of fumbling and poor kicking.
Yeah, I agree, Anthony. When they got it forward from that tyre kick there, the Geelong defence, there was a wall of them there.
Ball's back in the centre, and it's going to be Patterson up in ruck here, but he's well beaten by big Brad Furman, the St Joseph's player from the Geelong League. He got it down about 5 metres in Geelong's direction. Johnny Williams playing well early, bullocks his way out of that centre diamond area and pushes the ball onto centre half forward where Michael Lenigan tries to pick up in that muddy cricket pitch area. He gets it across field now toward Pat Brosnan. He goes wide, and the target out there is Watt. Watt gets it toward the 50-metre line. Bendigo have got plenty of numbers near the footy though, and they're going to bring it away through Rick Marklew. A good driving kick over the centre. Tyak's at the back of the pack. He can't pick up, but he's going to get another kick for a push in the back. That's 2 in a space of 3 minutes to Tyak, and there's a very open Bendigo forward line to drive it into. He drives down toward true full forward. A good Geelong mark in defence though has been taken for them by Furman dropping back there. Hand pass to Lenigan, a bad one. Lenigan just looked a little bit slow there as the ball hit the ground. Bradbury comes across. It's on Bendigo's 50-metre line here, and a chance for them to mount something. In goes Marklew. He can't pick it up, and a kick off the ground by the Geelong defenders sees it over the boundary line for a throw in about 70 metres around from the Bendigo goals. And we'll paint the picture for you here at the Queen Elizabeth Oval on a cool winter day. It's around about half forward flank up at the Barnard Street end on the broadcast or grandstand side. Tap down, went the way of Harris. He got the handball moving to Bradbury, but too much pace shown there by Pat Brosnan, who's been a busy player early, and he comes in front of Bradbury to shuffle it over the boundary line once again.
Doing well, Brosnan.
Yes, I'd say he's been one of the good early possession winners, and Johnny Williams out of the centre a couple of times, bullocking through. I wonder if you'll see the distance though, looking at him. Okay, there's the throw in again, and Bendigo working hard in the clinches there. Steve McDougall tackled without it, no free kick. Umpire's letting it go. It eventually spills out to Lockie Butler. He couldn't take it with him either, and it's gone over the boundary line for another throw in. So not a great deal of action there in that minute or so. It's just been pretty tight and pretty hard. Geelong have been able to bullock their way to a goal from a Chris Green free kick, and the goal kicked by Ron Watt, who plays for Geelong West St Peters. There's the throw in over the back. Andy McDougall got a big knock away. In fact, it was Parks got it down, but it's Geelong roving well. Brad Nichols, always a dangerous player, tackled well by Starbuck, throwing his body in McDougall. Now Bradbury feeds one out here, and it's taken by McIver to full forward. Lee Williams got one hand to it. Goal coming up. or is it offline? In the goal square, Lee Williams was too strong for John Hoyles, got his foot to the ball, but it dribbled the wrong side of the post, and Bendigo are one behind 1 point, and Geelong are one straight goal. That's 5 points Geelong's way at the 6-minute mark of the first quarter.
Good bit of quick thinking from Williams there. Well, Geelong have driven it out from the full-back position, and dropping in for the mark was Martin. Martin goes wide to the half-back line, and Ronnie Watt, who kicked the goal early, has taken the mark on the half-back flank for Geelong. Here's a chance for Bendigo to butter up here through Parks and Starbuck if they're good enough to get it away from the half-forward line. But coming in on top of the pack was Michael Lanigan? But anyway, it's a Geelong free kick as Parks picks the ball up and throws it back to the Geelong player.
Too long to get rid of it, Parks, ruled umpire by us.
Geelong goes into the centre of the ground, looking up there for Lenigan, but in front of Lenigan was Lockie Butler, and Lockie Butler's pulled down the mark for Bendigo in the centre of the field. Chance here for Bendigo to mount an attack. Butler balks around John Williams, drives high to the forward line, looking for big Lee Williams. Williams is up, two grabs, couldn't quite pull it in, gets the handball away. Williams, here's a chance for Bendigo. The ball comes out to Parks. Parks has had a snap on goal, but it's a point only for Bendigo, and Bendigo's a little bit inaccurate in these early stages. Nice bit of play there from the Bendigo players. They got it out to Parks. Bertie McIver's come up from his wing and is making an extra man in attack for Bendigo. But on that occasion, the big centre-half forward was just offline. Well, from the kick out, it's been driven to centre man John Williams. He's marked just on the centre-half back position for Geelong. His kick goes wide, looking for Evans, who was out in front of Lowry, but the ball's beaten both those players and has bounced out of bounds right in front of the grandstand.
Many a good sides got lost on this big QEO, and so far Geelong are taking the long way home, Richard.
Certainly, and up from the throw-in, Patterson and Furman battling hard. There it comes off the Patterson's back. A Geelong player goes down onto the ground trying to get the handball away. Burke gets it out in the direction of Tyack. Tyack gets up well and drives the ball up towards the half-forward line. Punched away from the Bendigo forwards, up back towards centre-half back for Geelong. In there is Frank Burke. Works the handball out to Patterson. Patterson drives up towards centre-half forward. No one home for Bendigo. Starbuck a little bit late on the scene, and the Geelong half-back line has taken a mark and will drive back towards the centre. Up they go in the air again in the centre. Coming through is Bertie McIver. He's got space. McIver drives towards half-forward. Here's a chance for a Bendigo player, and Harris. Harris is first to the ball, running towards goal, has a shot towards goal. Trickles through players' legs. Chance for Bendigo. It's in the goal square. The Geelong defence comes away from the full-back line. Nice play from Geelong, and they've driven it out wide towards the back pocket. Mark taken over there by Mithen, Bill Mithen from Geelong. The ball still on the Geelong half-back line, working hard. Matt Allen goes up in the air, tries to punch the ball away. Francis Burke comes through the pack. Long driving kick towards full forward from Burke. Oh, up in the air, it's Parks. No mark paid. Parks was up in the air. Great attempt, but there's still a chance as Bradbury works a little left foot kick away. No one home for Bendigo, and it will be run through, not quite by Hewitt, the back pocket player for Geelong. He elects to come out wide towards the South Bendigo side, half-back flank, and the ball's going out of bounds in front of the South Bendigo social rooms.
Out of bounds, between the forward pocket and forward flank, Bendigo into attack. They're two behinds, trailing Geelong 1 goal. We've played 9 minutes of time, first quarter. From the throw-in, Parks it is at the front, gets it down, nicely to Bradbury. The South Bendigo captain coach fires towards goal, wrong side of the post. In fact, it's out of bounds on the full, and a penalty free kick to be taken by Geelong in the back pocket. Right next to the behind post. Geelong will bring it out of defence now. They go wide, grandstand side here at the QEO. Big Patterson flies high, couldn't mark for Bendigo. Fedke's in there, Tyack comes through, he's tackled. A chance for Butler now of Bendigo. Butler picks it up. A long, high, up and under kick to centre-half forward. McIver's under it, but this occasion he's outmarked by Brosnan, and Brosnan's taken a nice mark almost at the centre-half back position. Plays on quickly, Brosnan goes to the wing. In front of his opponent was Francis Burke of Bendigo, and he's forced the ball over the line and out of bounds for a throw-in.
And his opponent a real danger man. This guy, number 16, Fitzgerald, very good player, vice-captain of Geelong.
From the throw-in, Patterson and Furman in there. Furman gets it down. Nobody can take it out of the pack. A hand pass taken by Francis Burke, goes to Butler. He goes further afield with another one, looking for Steve McDougall. He couldn't take it. Loose ball picked up by Brosnan. He's dispossessed by McIver. McIver's kick offline for his Bendigo teammate and marked by Hoyles. Hoyles goes wide, wing, swimming pool side. Numbers now with Geelong. Can they mount something? They go short to centre-half forward. Wicks punches it away from Brad Nichols, but the numbers there for Geelong again. Williams gets a hand pass looking for Lenigan. He can't take the football, stacks on the mill at centre-half forward for Geelong, and the umpire will bounce the ball.
Lowry went in very hard in that pack, and the Geelong player, it might have been Evans, came down pretty hard, was holding his side, but he's up again now.
Mick Lenigan, actually, and doesn't look all that good from the bounce. Furman gets it down, but it's taken by Steve McDougall. He kicks into the centre of the QEO, and the mark's taken for Bendigo by Lockie Butler. Butler now it is for the blue and golds. Turns, fires long, looking for Williams. He's caught behind on this occasion. Chance for Parks. He's got the football. Left foot kick is long, high, wide and handsome. In fact, it's over the line and out on the full. And a penalty free kick again to be taken in the back pocket by Geelong. That player goes short, looking for a teammate in Peter Appleford. Appleford's got the football in space, goes to half-back and finds Furman, a dangerous big ruckman for the Geelong side. Furman at half-back now, swings the ball into the centre of the ground. Down there he's looking for John Evans. Evans goes up the centre-half forward, well down the field. Taps it cleverly onto Mal Eddy. Eddie's got the football, goes short, but in front Francis Burke should relieve for the blue and golds. That he does. High, up towards Harris in the pocket. Couldn't mark. Good use of the body. He's outnumbered 2-1. Locks the football up. Good play, Darren Harris. Bounce of the ball about 45 metres out, directly in front. Bendigo into attack. Bendigo Football League, 2 behinds, trailing Geelong, 1 straight goal. From the bounce, nobody can get it out cleanly. Geelong go out now with the numbers as it's taken away on this occasion by Hoyles. He goes long to centre-half forward. Over the back, Francis Burke, a lovely relieving mark for Bendigo. Goes wide, the numbers out there with Bendigo. Tyack drops the mark, but he plays on. He's got, he had the advantage, and umpire Wayne Byers has brought him back. He's penalised the side on that occasion, so Tyack's got to come back to the wing and take the kick. He was off and running. Plays on now, Tyack, looking for Butler at half forward. He's marked, plays on. This is Lockie Butler for Bendigo. Spears in a pass, and Russell Parks is marked 20 metres out on a very slight angle, and a chance for Bendigo to post their first 6-pointer.
Very interesting to note that Peter Tyack has had a very big influence on this game. His form's lifted dramatically over his recent club games.
Good play from Bendigo, particularly from Peter Tyack. Worked it up from the wing, got the ball to Parks. 20 metres out, slight angle, put down the glasses. There's the first one. Bendigo moved to 1-2-8, leading Geelong 1 straight goal. That's on the Tube Makers scoreboard, and we've played 13.5 minutes of time in this, the first quarter.
Yes, Bendigo's half-forward line is struggling at the moment to actually get it past there, but once they do, they've got it down there. Players like McIver, Harris, Tyack and Butler are doing well around the grounds, and Francis Burke at half-back's repelled a number of times, and also Russell Parks looks pretty prominent.
I'd go along with that business with Burke. He's had a magnificent start, minding the dangerous Fitzgerald. Ball's back in the centre. Bendigo 1-2 and Geelong 1 goal. And Richard, I'd say Bendigo look a lot quicker when the ball hits the ground. That's just an early observation. Of course, on this ground, you've just got to be quick. And the ball out of the centre from Bendigo as it's taken this time for them by Paul Starbuck, the Castlemaine player. He got it as far as the half-forward line where Watt relieved. He got it down to a good battle between Lenigan and Burke. Burke starring early. He feeds it on to McIver, who gets a shove and must take a free kick on the far wing position. Bertie McIver, the Eagle Hawk player, he's got it out there under the 4X sign, decides to chip short where Patterson's made good position. He didn't run into the ball, he waited back, but it's well roved by Steve McDougall. Bendigo looking powerful when the ball hits the ground. Chance now for a chance down here to Parks, but out comes the full-back, and that's big Hewitt to take a good relieving mark for the Geelong League. He drives from the back pocket, right around. Oh, up goes McIver. Nelly took a beautiful mark, but on the ground, Bendigo yet again. This time it's Tyack. He chips around the corner under the scoreboard, half-forward flank. Parks drops a mark under pressure, and Hewitt works well there. Gets it across to Hoyles, and Geelong relieve. It's only going to be as far here as Wicks. A gutsy effort ready to one of his own teammates in Burke. It's on the true wing position, far side of the ground. Steve McDougall shovels it out. Bendigo at the bottom of most of the packs at the moment. They've got numbers at the footy, and that's what counts. Well played, Wicks. He runs into the diamond, feeds the hand pass across to get the overlap moving to Starbuck. Starbuck gets it on further, and Bendigo's away through Harris. Out to the half-forward line where Bradbury's made good position. He's on 50. He'd nearly kicked this on his day. He's gone for home. It's going to land in the square, and a great Geelong mark surely in the square. That was a brilliant Geelong mark down there. Running with the flight of the ball was John Hoyles, the Grovedale player. Coming in to put pressure on was Mark Clue, but you've got to give that one to Hoyles. One of the gutsiest marks you'd see in a month of Sundays. And this Sunday is a pretty important one for Bendigo. As Hoyles clears, but it's only as far as the 50-metre line, and a strong mark to McIver, who's on top on his wing. Bertie McIver, been down in club games in recent weeks since starring at Lavington, they tell me. And he's got a shot for goal from 50 metres out. Decides on the short one. Williams leads. Williams can't mark. Got one hand to it for the third time, but is going to get a free kick for over the shoulder. Lee Williams is getting his body in front. That's what counts. The umpires have shown early they're going to pay that free kick every time, and that's going to be Lee Williams now who's going to have a shot for goal for Bendigo, and he would be 35 metres out and as good as directly in front. Big chance for Bendigo to make something early here and establish a little bit of a lead. Williams is usually very accurate, and that's no difference, that one. And Bendigo's got their second goal of the day. A good start for the blue and golds. They've gone to 2-2-14. Geelong a one straight goal. And Billy Ashby, your thoughts on that comment I made as far as pace goes? On this ground, it's vital.
Extremely vital, Shane, and Bendigo are exceptionally quick at the moment and first to the ball, reading the ball a lot better off around the ground, and their knowledge of the ground is vital at this stage.
Well, on the Tube Makers scoreboard, Bendigo 2-2-14, Geelong one straight goal, 6, and the umpire bounces the ball in the centre of the field. Up goes Furman and Patterson. Oh, good tap out from Patterson. Goes straight down to a Geelong player, however, in Appleford. He tries to get Geelong into attack, but in there working hard again is Bertie McIver, Bendigo's best man at Ovens and Murray, and has made his presence felt here already this afternoon. Umpire's pulled out a free kick. That's umpire Road.
You'd like to know where he found that one from, Richard?
David
it was a
Road.
perfect tackle.
Yes, well, Geelong's got the free kick. Starbuck's the man on the mark. Geelong goes towards centre half forward. Up there, Bradbury punches the ball clear of these Geelong opponent. Goes through the leg of Parks, but Starbuck backs up well. Starbuck with the red headband. His kick is smothered. He gets back onto the ball again. Tyek's in there helping. Starbuck gets the handball away. Here's a chance for Bendigo. Wicks was out of position, however, and through the pack goes a Geelong player. I think it was Maguire. And Bendigo has driven a wobbly old kick out in the direction of Tyek, who's very, very prominent indeed. But the boundary umpire's got the hand up because it came off the chest and off the fist of Tyek and his opponent, and the ball's beaten them all over the line, and it'll be thrown in right in front of the grandstand.
Darren Harris, a very busy player already.
Ball back into play again from the boundary umpire. Parks doing the ruck work against Furman. Here's a chance for Geelong going over the centre half forward. Patterson's back there in the back line. So too is Hartney. Hartney, courageous attempt at the mark, was pushed out as he flew for the mark and was paid the free kick. Brendan Hartney, Bendigo's captain, looking upfield for Leeds. No one there, and Parks comes on the scene too late, and Big Furman has pulled in the mark, dropping a kick behind play, and he's pulled in the mark on the grandstand wing. Looks for options into the centre of the field. Oh, no one home there for Geelong. Bertie McIver's pulled in the mark. Feeds off the handball quickly to Stephen McDougall. McDougall balks back, caught by an opponent, but it was McIver coming back onto the ball who drove it out onto the swimming pool wing. Darren Harris, a little rover for Bendigo's in there. He's got the ball onto Mark Clue. Mark Clue's looking for options into attack, and there's Bradbury on his own. Spills what he should have taken, and the ball comes down to Hoyles, and he'll relieve the pressure for Geelong back towards the swimming pool side. In there is Fitzgerald, the vice-captain. He works the ball further on the far side wing. Geelong looking dangerous. Got players in space here. Chance for Geelong to go into attack at centre half forward, but punched clear from the pack by Bendigo. Bendigo again, a handball, long looping handball over in the direction of Andrew McDougall's up from the back line. Francis Burke drives Bendigo into attack. Oh, mark to Lee Williams. Good kick from Francis Burke, who made the extra man on the centre line there, and his long kick was marked by Lee Williams, who is gone back just inside the 50-metre line, so he'd be about 35, 40 metres out on a slight angle at the Barnard Street end. This is Lee Williams looking for his second goal for the day. Looks pretty good from here. It's through, and Bendigo moves on to 3 goals, 20 points, leading Geelong 1 goal straight, 6 points, and that's on the Tube Makers scoreboard.
Very interesting to watch Lee Williams move then. He moved into position extremely well, read the play right from the moment that the ball was coming down, and his no-nonsense kicking style of goal is a pleasure to watch. No messing about at all.
At the moment, they've got to make the most of their opportunities. They're winning the ball around the ground. It's important they kick goals.
Back in the centre now with umpire Rhodes. Patterson in ruck for Bendigo. Furman for Geelong. Up they go. Furman wins this one. It's taken by Lockie Butler. His hand pass intercepted by Furman. Nobody can get it out of the centre. Numbers with Geelong as Maguire picks it up. A high up and under kick to centre half forward. No mark. Andrew McDougall's there for Bendigo. Gets it out to Harris. Gets a push. No whistle on play. McDougall goes in to lend assistance. His hand pass to Butler intercepted. Hartney's working hard. So too's Butler. In there for Geelong was Maguire. He couldn't get it out. Finally, Geelong do. Into the forward pocket. A chance down there for Bill Mithen. He can't control the football. It's very close to the boundary line. It's in the forward pocket for Geelong. A hand pass comes out. A chance now for Fitzgerald. He's had a snap at goal, offline and through for 1 behind. So Geelong moved to 1-1-7, trailing Bendigo 3-2-20 on the Tube Makers scoreboard. 21 minutes gone first term.
I thought Bendigo could have been a little bit more desperate in defence then. Chris Green was too casual in letting the ball try to go out.
From the kick out, McDougall goes short and finds McIver. A big kick into the centre of the ground. Bradbury's got the football, feeds a hand pass out to the running Mark Lew, being a good link man. Mark Lew goes long. Over the back, Williams couldn't complete the mark. He taps it further afield, looking for Bradbury. Bradbury caught out of position on this occasion, but he gets back in quickly. Pressure on the Geelong defence. Hoyles has got the football, tackled by Starbuck, close to the boundary line. It's over and out. There'll be a throw-in the forward pocket. Scoreboard side with Bendigo into attack. The football would be about 20 metres around from the behind post. 20 plays 7. The blue and gold's in front. 22 and a half minutes gone first term from the throw-in. Fisted down by Lee Williams, contesting the ruck. Hoyles picks it up. His handball inboard, intercepted by Darren Harris. He's tackled by a Geelong player. Russell Parks takes the football, but he's bumped over the line and out of bounds, and another throw-in in the same forward pocket.
Geelong have made an interchange. Andrew Reynolds has limped off the ground, the big ruckman, and Rob Gilbert's come on.
From the throw-in now, Furman down there, taps it down. Nobody can get it out cleanly. There's a lot of players in that pack. Umpire Rhodes, the Geelong umpire, has picked out a free kick from a big pack of players. It'll go to Geelong in a back pocket, and it'll be taken by the vice captain, John Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald goes wide to the wing. Bar's side, intercepted by Alan Patterson, gets it to McIver. He goes inboard to Wicks, who can't mark. He's backed up by Peter Tyack. Tyack goes short and finds Lockie Butler on the 50-metre line.
He's been a good player, Butler, so far.
And Tyack.
Had some great link men. Butler now from the 50-metre line, goes long into the goal square. Over the back of Bendigo mark. Russell Parks for mine.
A beauty.
Flew over the back of Lee Williams and a Geelong player and took an absolute blinder. He'd be 3 metres out on a very slight angle and should have no trouble in putting through Bendigo's fourth. Russell Parks, he got up earlier in this quarter and just failed to hold an absolute ripper.
And that was a ripper too, Jock.
And that one stuck. There would be fingerprints on that football from Parks as he comes in. He's put it right out into Barnard Street, and Bendigo moved to 4-2-26, leading Geelong 1-1-7 as we've played 23 minutes of time in the first quarter. And Billy, this is the sort of start that we did not get last year at Geelong.
Certainly is. It's the ideal start for Bendigo, but I thought it was a very interesting move with down in the forward line then, when Big Lee Williams saw Parker out the corner of his eye, stood his ground and allowed Parker virtually to come across the back and take a great mark. It was a great piece of play from Williams.
Well,
we're still waiting for the ball to get back to the centre. Sorry, Anthony, yes.
That's right. Bendigo's running players are really dominating at the moment. McIver, Harris, Tyack, Butler, and also Mark Lew on the forward line, they've really been dominating. And well, now we're just starting to capitalise with Williams, and now Parks taking a few marks and kicking a few goals.
And Jock and Richard, it's interesting watching Bradbury's experience. I think he spotted Williams very early as being a little bit on the portly side, and he is covering one heck of a lot of territory. And I just wonder if it's in the back of his mind whether Williams is going to see out 4 hard quarters on this huge ground, because although Bradbury's had his 3 or 4 possessions, you'd say Williams has had 3 or 4 his way as well. But as far as 4 quarters of action goes, it's going to be a long way for Johnny Williams to see out.
I think already.
Very correct. He's called for the water already, Johnny Williams, as we speak, and the water bottle's gone out to Williams, and he's had a bit of a swig. And you're quite right, Bradbury's going to run Johnny Williams all over this park.
Anthony?
Richard, I thought he might have been swigging on something more than water by having a look at him.
2 goals so far to Russell Parks, 2 goals to Lee Williams for Bendigo. Bounce in the centre, Patterson and Furman. Furman wins it slightly. It's kicked out of the centre by Geelong's Fitzgerald. Up to half forward. Chris Green comes out. He's under pressure. Turned the wrong way. A chance now for Geelong. Hand pass out to Lenigan. He's under pressure from Tyack. Lenigan's got the football. Throws it out in front of him. Lockie Butler's there for Bendigo. Hand pass to Hartney. Hartney goes short. Looking for Wicks. The boundary line too close. It's over and out for a throw-in at half forward with Geelong into attack.
Educated kick from Hartney landed 30 centimetres inside the boundary line.
Geelong kicking to the City end goal at the Queen Elizabeth Oval there. 7 points. They trail Bendigo by 19. From the throw-in, in front, Tyquin goes for the ball. Can't tap it out. A chance for Butler. Butler's got it. Clever little hand pass. Keeps it in play. Not for very long. Boundary umpire blows his whistle, and there'll be a throw-in now on the half-forward flank for Geelong. It's on the grandstand side here at the Queen Elizabeth Oval. Throw in now, Patterson. He's opposed to Evans. Patterson wins it. It's intercepted by Mithun. Mithun's kick goes nowhere, into a wall of players. Wicks in there battling hard for Bendigo. Nobody can get the ball out cleanly. The umpire's blown the whistle and he'll bounce the football. 60 metres from Geelong's goal, and it's time on in the first term. 25 and a half minutes down. From the bounce, Patterson cleverly over to Lowry. Lowry finds some space. goes long, raking kick, up to half forward. Chance for Parks to use his pace. This time he's beaten by Hewitt. Hewitt's got the football. Hand pass running out from full back was Hoyles. Hoyles, long kick, up over the wing position and coming out to take a strong mark as Lenigan, the skipper of Geelong. He needs to lift. Lenigan goes to centre half forward. Patterson spoils Allen. This allows Tyquin the chance. Tyquin's kick into a wall of players. And there's a whistle on play and a free kick to Tyquin.
And Lowry's down.
At centre half forward. Kieran Lowry doesn't look too good. He staggered out of that pack. It doesn't look too good. He's down on his haunches. And did anybody see what that free kick to Tyquin was for? A high tackle, thank you, Shane. Wayne Tyquin will kick from just outside the 50-metre mark. It would be a good kick, but we saw last year he is a good kick of the football. He elects to use the spiral torpedo. Doesn't make the distance. It's punched away by Alan Patterson. Cleverly rode by McDougall. McDougall goes out to the pocket. Wicks over the back of his opponent, has given away a free kick. And Geelong will have the free or on the 50-metre line, forward flank. Chance for them to mount something now. The player, Brad Nichols, he goes inboard. Hartney for Bendigo takes a relieving mark. Plays on quickly, hands off to Tyak. He's off and running with a bounce. Swings play to the other side, the swimming pool side of the Queen Elizabeth Oval. Looks for a teammate in Mark Clue, and he doesn't let him down. Rick Mark Clue at half back now for Bendigo. He goes long across the swimming pool flank. Flyers needed. Geelong in front. It's knocked away from Furman. On the ground, picked up by Steve McDougall. He goes wide. Nobody there. In fact, it's too wide. It's over the line and out of bounds, and a penalty free kick to be taken by Geelong on their half-back flank. Player to take it, Paul Hewitt. Here's Shane Healy to describe the action.
27 minutes first quarter. Bendigo in front of the Vic Health Grand Final. 4-2-26 to 1-1-7. Patterson's taken a great mark inside the diamond over Furman. He's lifted in confidence in the last 10 or 15 minutes, Patterson, and he brings it now to the grandstand half-forward flank. Lead from Starbuck, who's marked and marked well. Presses me this guy, Starbuck. He can play all right. He's 55 or 60 out from goal. Too far to score on a pretty cool day here in Bendigo, but he puts the pass in looking for Williams. Geelong defenders come across in front, though, as Williams led, and that's Johnny Hoyles, the Grovedale veteran, we can really call him, I think, these days, who's taken the mark at the true centre half-back position. Drives to the wing. Up they go. Francis Burke thumps away, but there's a free kick in the meantime to Burke. Or is it Matty Allen? Both were up in the pack, and I think it's going to be Matty Allen, yeah, because Burke came from the back. Thanks, Billy. And Matty Allen's got the free kick forward of wing, and he goes onto the left foot now and drives over 50. Down to Lee Williams, who got up. Ball thumped to the ground. Who's down? White jumpers at the bottom, and good play there coming through from Ron Watt. He got the hand pass across now, and it's Williams who's got it at centre half-back. Puts in the tunnel handball. It was a bad one. It looked for Billy Mithen, who couldn't accept it. There's 5 blue and gold jumpers around the football, and they are able to lock it up here, and the umpire says, give it to me, and I'm going to put it to ground. And painting the picture for you here at deep in time on in the first quarter with Bendigo 4-2 and Geelong 1-1. We are looking up to the Barnard Street end to where Bendigo are kicking, and it's between centre and centre half forward right out there in the middle. And a big fly from McIver who got up. Oh, big tab away. In goes Starbuck to apply a strong tackle. Now Harris working in the pack. McDougall's in there too. He couldn't get away with it. Eventually Geelong try and clear here through Maletti, who's been very quiet early. A kick off the ground by Furman reaches the centre. Out comes Patterson. He thumps it on 20 metres looking for Bradbury. Bradbury tries to break out of a tackle there from Peter Appleford. Couldn't do so, and Mick Lenigan comes over now to assist. He's playing better, but not soon enough, because the siren's gone for quarter time, and I'd say high on Terry Emon's list of quarter time priorities will be to look at the balance of the side and to get a couple more running players into key positions. At quarter time here at the Queen Elizabeth Oval, Bendigo League leads in the grand final 4-2-26 to the Geelong League 1-1-7.
You're listening to all the action of the Vic Health Country Championship grand final from the Queen Elizabeth Oval on Community Radio 3CCC FM. We'll take a short break and be back to summarise the first quarter of action.
Well done. Good so far.
It's a reverse of last year. I hope the whole game's a reverse of last year.
Looking quicker, and that's going to be a big key on this ground.
A couple of their blokes don't look fit.
Nah. What about Williams in the centre? Yeah, it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. Start, Jonesy. Couldn't have been better. No, Michael. Oh.
Go, Michael.
Out in the middle of the ground last time I saw him at the start. I don't know. Red jacket, I think he had on. I don't know where he got to after that, Mike. I saw him at the beginning. He was taking photos of the people as they lined up in their presentations. That was at 2 o'clock. He'll be around just getting action shots, Joe, from various angles.
The coaches at quarter time, and Geelong coach Terry Emmond he was talking about Bendigo being quite tall and their forwards are pretty good mark, so you've got to get in front, and he was telling their forward line if they didn't get in front then they'd be off the ground. He said they've got to use their runners more. The runners are being beaten, and that's pretty obvious. On the other hand, Neville Strosh, he was quite happy. He said the forward line is too crowded and not giving Lee Williams enough room, and you've got to bring it through the centre of the forward line instead of going wide to the pockets because you get lost out there, and I think that's pretty right.
Shane, some better players for Geelong.
Well, certainly their smaller running players weren't in the picture, and that surprised me. I thought Lenigan only just started to get going in the second half of the quarter. Johnny Williams had more possessions than Bradbury, but I'd question whether he did as much with them. Probably they're better players with a big ruckman, Furman, Brosnan. Mark Hall, we didn't call him a lot, but he's figured here on the stats, and possibly he snuck in and got a few of those hard balls out of packs, and often when there's a big crowd of players around, it's hard to spot them. I thought Hoyles in defence did quite well. He was a pretty steady player for them, and I suppose you've got to give Johnny Williams a rap, but they've got a lot of players down Geelong, and that's reflected on the scoreboard with Bendigo 19 points in front. They're certainly going to need a big lift from their running players. The guys such as Mark Hall and also Fitzgerald, the little rover and vice-captain, both very important cogs. Mauletti, another one.
And Geelong getting nothing out of their two key forwards, Taekwon Orr. Apart from a couple of free kicks, Taekwon's done nothing, and neither has centre-half forward Evans.
No, they've both been well beaten. Lowry's not just beating Evans, he's also a springboard for Bendigo, and he's racing that ball out. He and Burke were outstanding players, along with McIver in that first quarter, I thought, John.
Yeah,
Well,
and also their only goal for the quarter came as a result of a free kick to Ron Watt, and that was given away by Chris Green.
We've been joined in a commentary position by Brendan Dreschler of the Brendan Dreschler Bulldogs fame, and of course Brendan's up here to lend a bit of support. He's a fanatical Bendigo supporter this afternoon, and he's here to see his blue and golds come up trumps.
You've seen that famous smile on his television commercial. Well, it'll be twice as wide if Bendigo win this, I can assure you.
Well, it's early days. There's 3 quarters of football to go, and we've seen the power of the Geelong side in action first-hand last year, and this game is a long way from over. 4-2-26 at quarter time. Bendigo leading Geelong 1-1-7. There's the siren to start the second term action here at the Queen Elizabeth Oval. Geelong going to the Barnard Street end of the ground. From the bounce, it's Furman and Patterson. Furman gets it. Lenigan's in there. Taps it further afield looking for Evans. Evanson's got it and kicked it up to half forward. No mark there from either side. Hartney's got the football. Works a hand pass nicely out to Frank Burke. Burke working hard, kicks the ball up to the wing position and finds a teammate. Player down there, Rick Marklew. Marklew for Bendigo, goes inboard. Oh, dangerous. Parks, caught behind, couldn't take the mark. Numbers now with Geelong as Brosnan feeds it out to Lenigan, starting to be busy for Geelong. He goes up to half forward. The numbers all with Geelong now. Mark taken by Fedke. Fedke looks like he's onto the half forward line. He goes up into attack. A Geelong player dropped what he should have taken, but he's got time to swing around. Centre the football, and it's a mark to a Geelong player at centre half forward. That's Taekwon. 45 metres out from goal, directly in front. One of the few occasions today so far, Taekwon has been able to put a bit of space between himself and Chris Green.
It was a good lead, Jock, a real good lead.
Not a bad pass either, Shane. Wayne Taekwon, 45 metres out, good kick of the football, directly in front. What's he done? It looks like he's swung it wide. Yes, he has. Lucky let off for Bendigo. That moved Geelong along to 1-2-8, trailing Bendigo 4-2-26.
In VFL, Hawthorn 5-2-32 lead Richmond 3-3-21 at the MCG by 9 points, and at the SCG Sydney 5-3-33 lead Footscray 1-1-7 by 26 points.
Ball kicked in from full-back by Lowry of Bendigo. It's a beautiful kick, well over half-back, but it's a mark to Geelong down there, and that player again is Taekwon. It looks like he's starting to come into the play a little bit. Taekwon, long kick, up to full forward. Nobody can mark. Chance for Geelong. Ball fed out in the direction of Gilbert. He can't do anything with it. Desperate play. Picked up and snapped at goal by a Geelong player in a pocket, but it's right across the face, over the line and out of bounds on the full, and Bendigo will be able to relieve via the penalty free kick. It'll be taken next to the behind post by Frank Burke. Burke now for Bendigo, goes short. He's got a player in Hartney on the lead, and Hartney's taken the mark. Still in the back pocket, grandstand side, Brendan Hartney goes short again, dangerous. Harris the target, couldn't mark it. He gathers the ball in nicely, goes back to Hartney by hand. Hartney's kick, looking for Patterson, and Patterson's marked on the half-back flank. Plays on quickly, Alan Patterson. McIver's got it. Little bit of space. Goes short. Mark Clue. Good skills. Picks the ball up nicely. Fires a handball to Bradbury. Bradbury to the running Starbuck. He runs to half forward, kicks into the goal square. Poor kick. Williams was out of position, but managed to fist it away from his opponent on this occasion and find the boundary line. So now it's out of bounds, but this time in a forward pocket for Bendigo.
I think Mark Hall thought he had that in front of Williams and was surprised to see the big fist come across.
Good desperate play from Williams as the throw in now. Parks it is to contest in the ruck. Can't get it down. Furman taps it away. Picked up by Starbuck. Snaps towards goal. Off the side of the boot, however. And it's over and out for a free kick. Penalty free kick to be taken by Paul Hewitt of Geelong in the back pocket. Here's Shane Healy to tell you all about it.
And there's the kick now from that player in Hewitt. He goes to the half-back flank, targets Fedke. Ball to the ground where Bradbury's busy. Tries to feed out the hand pass and does so. Well done. Wicks across to McIver. He kicks to a very open full forward line. Hall comes out in front of Williams. Did that well, Hall, and drove to the half-back flank broadcast side. Up they go here. Nearly a glorious Geelong grab there from Johnny Maguire, who got up. And on the ground he was just as quick. Hand pass a bad one. Bert McIver intercepted. Got the hands on when he didn't have the ball, and Bert McIver's going to take the free kick from the half-back flank.
Academy Award performance and rewarded by the umpire.
He was happy to take it though. He looked for Hartney on the wing position. Hartney's really bustled out of position there, and well played by Mal Eddy, who's coming into the game, and don't they need him up toward the half-forward line. Well gathered Burke, doing brilliantly. Across to Lowry. He skirts along the wing and finds Starbuck, who's been one of Bendigo's best players in a pretty impressive performance. Got the big ribbon around his flowing locks as he drives towards centre half forward. Now Parks goes up one hand, couldn't take the mark. Ball comes to the ground. Geelong have got numbers at the footy, but they're fiddling around there. John Hoyles and Furman both very slow. Harris got between them, was tackled without the footy and has taken the free. Chips inboard, and he'll see Steve McDougall, who got around Lenigan with ease. He'll nearly kick this, McDougall. He's 40 out and he's slammed it home. Great goal, McDougall. And Lenigan is not fit. There's no possible way Lenigan's fit because he had no chance of chasing McDougall there. Steve McDougall sidestepped once and slammed it home at the city end. Bendigo 5-2, Geelong 1-2.
That was so easy to sidestep, it was almost ridiculous, wasn't it, Shane?
Well, we've seen Lenigan play some brilliant footy even last year. I know he's in the twilight of his career. He's captain in Geelong and he's not fit, I will say that for certain.
What about the poise of Bendigo's young players? No panic at all. Players like Harris, Mark Lou, Starbuck, all the time in the world.
Doing brilliantly, Bendigo, and it's a great start as Burke gets a shove in the back from the half-back line. They're first in for the footy. They want the footy and it's showing.
Yeah, also an interchange. Patterson off and Crone on for Bendigo.
Crone doing some rucking as Burke takes it now. Looks for Parks on the half-forward line. Geelong player got in front. Fed down to the ground and Starbuck was there again. He kicks up toward the 50-metre line where Geelong defence working well together there. Ronnie Watt came out. He tried to get it across to Hoyles, who got it further afield, and Geelong are running. Furman under plenty of pressure. Thought about the handball. It's almost reached the wing. Well played as it goes across from Fitzgerald to Mithun. Mithun can't pick up. Geelong under all sorts of pressure all the time. They're getting lost on this big ground, and at the moment it's showing.
Yep, certainly is at the moment. And Bendigo, they're working hard and they've got to make the most opportunities when they're running hot.
5-2 to 1-2. Here's Richard Jones.
Ball into play from the boundary throw-in. Comes down to Matty Allen. He gets the handball away. It's taken by Maguire for Geelong, and he drives up towards the half-forward line. Here's a chance for Bendigo as Mal Eddy picks up the football, drives in towards full forward. Ball spills loose. Chris Green first in the race to the ball. Could take it through the point post, Big Green, and he does so. He elects for safety and runs through the point as Geelong was looking dangerous there, as Eddy and Maguire combined to get the ball into attack. So it's a point for Bendigo on the Brian Walsh shower screen scoreboard, and that makes Geelong a 1-goal 9 points, trailing Bendigo 5-2-32. Well, from the kicking, it's come back again to that man, Eddy. He's driven Geelong into attack again. It comes off hands, down in the forward pocket. Chance for Geelong if they're good enough to get a score here, but the ball's eluded the player who grabbed it. We'll pick him up in a second. He's
Bill Mithun.
Bill Mithun. He picked up the ball and ran it towards the boundary line, but it beat him and trickled over the line for another throw-in. From beside the point post, big punch out from Crone in the direction of Tyack. Tyak's been a busy player for Bendigo. Gets Bendigo out of the defensive area towards the grandstand wing. Diving in on top of the ball was McDougall. He couldn't pick it up. Out of the pack comes Evans, who's coming to Maguire, who's coming to the play. Drives Geelong up towards the half-forward line, but Tyack again comes out of defence and drives Bendigo into the half-back line where the mark has been taken by Brosnan. He drives Geelong back in towards the forward line. Backing up well there was Brendan Hartley, the skipper. The ball's close to the Geelong goals. It's going to beat them over the line, though, as Hartley puts a tackle on a Geelong player, and the ball goes out of bounds once again, close to the point post at the Barnard Street end.
Well, Geelong have really lifted their work rate in this quarter. I think Bendigo have really got to keep working hard.
from the throw-in. Big Crone was doing battle in the ruck, but the umpires pulled out a free kick. This is umpire Wayne Byers from the Goulburn Valley area. He's pulled out a free kick to Geelong, and it'll be the centre half forward, John Evans, the man in the bicycle shorts, and he's going to take a shot for goal well inside the 50-metre mark. This is Evans, the Geelong centre half forward. Been pretty quiet so far. Oh, he's well within kicking distance, Evans. He'd only be about 25 metres out. Should kick this if he's any good. He hasn't made any mistake with that, Evans. Hasn't had too many kicks, but he landed a goal with that one, and that was a much-needed goal from the visitors this afternoon, Shane.
Yes, certainly. They've got their 2 goals, though, Billy, from free kicks.
Just about to mention that, Shane. 2 goals, 2 free kicks.
And that makes it 2-3-15 to 5-2-32. 17 points in front, Bendigo. Anthony, I think you made a pretty relevant point when you said Bendigo's had the better of it, but really haven't established yet what you'd call a really good lead, have they?
Very early in the game, they had a lot of the play and didn't make the most of it, and now they've got to.
Ball back into centre field. Up goes Crone again. Oh, comes down to Bradbury. Bradbury gets a little kick along the ground, looking up for Starbuck. 2 players there for Geelong, and the Geelong free kick will go to the player. Tackled far too high as he went down on the ground, and that player is Hoyles. Driven up to the centre field again. Here's a chance for Bendigo. Oh, Hartney's pulled down to the ground without the football. Hartney must take the free kick, and has been a solid and reliable player for Bendigo today. This is Brendan Hartney, the Bendigo captain. He's looking out on the flank for Stephen McDougall. Oh, good effort from McDougall as he came running in. Hoyles had front stalls. McDougall put the fist out in front of him and punched the ball out of bounds, and it'll be thrown in right in front of the packed grandstand here at the Queen Elizabeth Oval, the home of country football, and it's the Country Championships Grand Final. Up they go in the air again. Big Crone gets it down. Comes down to Eddie, who's lifted his work rate, as Anthony said, in this quarter. But the ball's beaten them all once again over the line, a little further up and marginally into Geelong's attacking area. Ball thrown back into play again. Crone does battle with Furman. The ball comes down to Geelong. Tyack puts on a nice bump. Here is Butler coming through the pack, but it's scooped up by Brad Nichols, the Geelong wingman. He drives Geelong into attack again. Here's a chance for Evans. He's bumped off the ball. Green's in there battling hard for Bendigo, and the ball comes back to Crone, who takes the relieving mark. Works the ball off to Matty Allen. Looking for McDougall, but chipping in well there was the Geelong defender in Pat Brosnan. He's got the ball on field to Eddie. Eddie drives Geelong into attack again. Geelong looking a little dangerous. Burke lurking at the back of the pack for Bendigo. Relieves well. Gets it out to Hartney. Hartney drives wide out towards the scoreboard wing, looking for Andrew McDougall. McDougall comes in with a nice little left foot chip pass and has found Bradbury out on the far wing.
Bradbury far wing now, goes forward looking for Wicks. He's outnumbered 2-1. Chance for Geelong through Appleford. He takes the football, finds a teammate with a short kick. That's Nichols. Brad Nichols now goes to half forward, and he's found another player. He hands off to Lenigan. Lenigan goes short, and he's found a teammate. No, he doesn't. The Geelong player dropped the mark. He's under pressure from Hartney. He's under pressure now from McIver. Whistle on play. Play on's the call. Confusing. Handball back to Lenigan. It goes from Lenigan to Mithen. Mithen goes long, and he's found a teammate at full forward. He's found a teammate 30 metres out, slide angle. Player down there, I'd say, is Wayne Tyke one again.
Yes, it is, and they're starting to move around in their forward line a little bit now, and players like Mithen and Eddie and Lenigan are really starting to run, and all of a sudden Geelong, having more of the footy, are beginning to look just a little bit better.
Mind you, a very good side, Geelong, and you couldn't expect to have it all your own way all day. Tyke went 30 metres out, slide angle, distance not a problem.
Looks okay.
The accuracy looks all right. He's put it through. Geelong come back at the Queen Elizabeth Oval. They move to 3-3-21, trailing Bendigo 5-2-32, and we've played just on 13 minutes of time, second quarter.
And Anthony, would you agree that it's those smaller players such as Eddie and Mithen and also Michael Lenigan, who you'd put in the smaller player category, who are beginning now to get more of the footy?
Yes, we saw it in the first quarter that Bendigo were dominating that area, and as you said, those smaller players are going to be very important to Geelong, and now they're just starting to lift their work rate, and it's watch out Bendigo.
Back in the centre, Crone opposed to Furman. Nobody can take it. Williams in there working hard, but it's Tyack that comes out with the football. His kick goes straight up in the air. Under it, Mark Clue. Marks for Bendigo between the wing and half forward. Rick Mark Clue now to drive the blue and golds deep into attack. This he does. Harris over the back. Couldn't complete the mark. Stephen McDougall's in there working hard. Starbuck throws himself into the pack, but the umpire blows the whistle, and he'll bounce the football inside the 50-metre mark with Bendigo into attack. They're kicking to the city end goal in the second quarter. Umpire puts the ball down. Parks hits it out. Taken by Harris. His kick over the shoulder. Chance for Williams at the back. Couldn't get the second grab. In there working hard, the Geelong defence bottle it up. And there'll be another bounce, this time about 10 to 12 metres out. And Geelong desperately holding Bendigo out. Bendigo need to get another answer. Geelong have kicked the last 2 goals and are coming back. Waiting for the umpire to put the ball now. This he does. Lee Williams will do the heavy work for Bendigo. It's hit out by Furman. A chance in there for Starbuck. Can't pick the football up. In there, a Geelong player. Kick off the ground. McIver in front. Takes the football. Hand pass over his head. Tyak picks it up. Leaves it for Harris now. Harris, hand pass looking for Starbuck. He's under pressure. Stolen by Steve McDougall. Snap it goal. Will it swing round? It's close. It's there. Great goal, Steve McDougall. Very much needed goal to Bendigo. They're breaking the run of Geelong. That's their 6th, 6-2, 38, leading Geelong 3-3, 21. And that's on the Brian Walsh shower screen scoreboard, and that's McDougall's second goal.
Both kicked in this second quarter of play.
Well, a handy one there to Steve McDougall, Anthony.
In Melbourne, at MCG, it's been a sensational match. Dermot Brereton's just been reported, but we'll go on with the play now.
OK, well, it's back in the centre, and it's Bertie McIver getting back into the game. Gets the first kick out of the centre diamond. McDougall tries to tap it along in front. Oh, good body work. Harris allowed Burke to come into the game. He's well supported now by McIver back there in defence. McIver looks for Parks. Oh, Furman went in hard there. Tackle there by Harris on that player in Hoyles was excellent. But Geelong work it away. Well done, Williams. Hand pass across to Ron Watt. He kicks from half back toward half forward. Lands on the 50-metre line. Who's coming in? Williams again as the ball's thumped away. And he gets a shove and will get a free kick, and it was Hartney. And he gave one back to Hartney too, thank you. Now he looks for Tyquin, who led well. Oh, Green spoiled beautifully. Down to the ground it goes. Big Evans goes in. Kicks up toward a very open forward line. Bendigo should come out through Andrew McDougall and do. And from the back pocket he looks for Bradbury. And Bradbury with a sure pair of hands marks forward of half-back flank. He's got support now as they run wide here, and Lockie Butler runs down the back flank and finds Mark Clue on the wing. Mark Clue kicks over the cricket pitch toward a very open forward line. It lands on 50 and bounces. Williams has got the full back there in Hall to beat, and he's got support Hall from Hewitt, who kicks for the boundary line, half-back flank out of side. And before Peter Appleford can come in, the ball's gone over for a throw-in.
In Sydney 5-5-35 at quarter time lead Footscray 2-2-14, and the Hawks 5-2-32 lead Richmond 4-6-30.
And we are 14 minutes into the second quarter here at the Queen Elizabeth Oval. Bendigo 6-2-38 lead the Geelong League 3-3-21. It's on Bendigo's 50-metre line. Working in hard there was Tyak, also Starbuck. There's a push, and it's going to be Geelong's way, and it's going to be a free kick here to the Cats, I suppose we can call them, from down that way, and it's taken for them by Ron Watt. His kick, a shocker. He kicked the ground. It's taken by Mark Clue. He'll look for Tyak deep in attack. Ball thumped away by the big Geelong defenders. Bendigo tackling desperately, not letting Geelong get the easy kicks out of defence. Eventually it's well linked up by Hall across to Nichols. He got it to Fitzgerald, half-back flank out of side. They're going in hard, and there's going to be a Geelong free kick for holding the man out there. And it might be Fitzgerald who's going to get up and take this kick.
Notice the skills of Rick Marklew. Just a moment ago, the ball was at boot level and Marklew picked it up first grab. Not an error. He has been playing very well, that fellow.
The Ovington Murray player, of course, ex-Ovington Murray, now Bendigo, a very good footballer. There's that Geelong relieving kick down the wing. Crone punches from the back. Who's down? Johnny Williams. Good handball on, and Lenigan. This is dangerous. Lenigan running on his favourite QEO territory. Has 2 bounces. I've seen him kick goals from there, but he's not as fast as he was back in those great Sandhurst days. He's been collared by Lowry with a great tackle.
Yeah, exceptionally good play from Lowry. Lack of talking from Geelong.
He finds Bradbury now, Lowry. Bradbury really coming into the game this quarter, gives it to McIver. He puts in an up and under. Johnny Williams should mark and does. Wasn't a good kick to Starbuck. Williams gets Geelong running. Hand passes into the diamond. Across to Fitzgerald, down to Hoyles. Hoyles kicks across centre to Ward, half forward. Good duel here between Mitham and Burke. In comes Matty Allen to support. It's 2-on-2. And now McIver comes across for Bendigo. Geelong work it out with a handball. It goes to Maletti. His handball a bad one. He was looking for John Maguire, but Bendigo bring it away through Kieran Lowry. And he puts a pinpoint pass to Starbuck. He knew he had Johnny Williams chasing him, so he raced away and looked for Lee Williams. Tyak roads it, runs into the open goal, and from the impossible angle he's across the face for 1 point. Well, and anyone who knows the QEO knows how hard it is to kick a goal from deep in the pocket. That would have been miraculous. Right forward pocket, right foot, just offline, Billy Ashby.
Unfortunately so, but a great piece of play from Lee Williams, who saw the opportunity, and a great little tap over to Tyack.
6-3 to 3-3. Bendigo in front by 3 goals. Kick out. Parks goes up. Couldn't take the mark. Hoyles gets the body in and will get the free kick. Just a little bit ticky touch with that one, but he got the body in. The umpire's been paying that all day, and well done. Hoyles kicks to a pretty open centre area, and a good pinpoint pass finds Brad Nichols, who's coming into the game. Key player for Geelong. He goes to half forward. One-on-one. Bendigo up with Matty Allen. No one could take the mark. It's on the ground. Evans goes across for Geelong to give support. It's on 50, Richard Jones. Geelong attacking and down by 3 straight kicks here at the 17-minute mark of the second quarter.
A little bit unlucky there, Matty Allen. Had the hands on the ball twice. Could almost have been paid a mark, but wasn't, as the umpire balls it up on the cricket pitch area, Barnard Street end. Up goes Geelong. Francis Burke is in there for Bendigo. Oh, he's still battling hard, Burke. Out from the pack comes Butler. Left foot kick towards the swimming pool side from Butler. Looking for Mark Clue. Mark Clue can't quite grab it. The Geelong player comes down to ground. Here's Tyack with a handball off to Butler. Butler will go looking long for the half-forward line. On his own is Paul Starbuck. Starbuck playing a dynamic second quarter for Bendigo. Long kick from Starbuck. It's going to bounce towards the open goal. Backing up there for Geelong is Mark Hall, and he's tackled by McDougall. That's Stephen McDougall, and Mark Hall will take the ball through for a point for Geelong. Nice play by Starbuck, Billy. That was great play.
Certainly was, and I thought it could almost been a free kick for dropping the ball in the goal square to Bendigo.
Well, from the kick in now, the ball's over in the direction of Butler. He's tumbled to the ground. Big Johnny Williams comes in, chips Geelong towards the wing, finds a teammate over there in Brosnan. Brosnan onto the left foot for Geelong, looking for Evans at centre half forward. Punched away from that player by the Bendigo defence. Comes out in the direction of McDougall onto Harris. Harris now on the half-forward line for Bendigo. Goes long, looking for Big Bones Williams. Up goes Williams, can't quite take it. Bradbury's in there. So's Mark Clue. Mark Clue's got the football on the ground. It's a wrestling match between Mark Clue and his opponent down there in John Hoyles. And the umpire, this is David Rhodes from the Geelong area, will ball it up about 20 metres out from the Bendigo goal.
And he's dead set like salt and pepper, Mark Clue, isn't he? He's in everything this afternoon.
Up they go in the air. Parks was doing the ruck work for Bendigo. Comes out towards Stephen McDougall. He's have another snap on goal. It'll go wide towards the Camp Hill School pocket. But Lee Williams, running towards the pocket, has pulled in a miraculous mark on his fingertips. And Lee Williams is on the boundary line in the Camp Hill School pocket area. And Big Bones Williams from the Golden Square Football Club will look for his third goal. He goes for the banana kick. Doesn't look too bad. It's a beauty. And Lee Williams has kicked his third goal for the day. And Bendigo's seventh. And Bendigo looking very, very good indeed.
Well, many players would have given up and not gone for that mark, but he ran. He's not the fastest player in the league, but he's run on and taken a great mark, and what a great goal. And Billy, an interchange being made with the ruckman for Bendigo.
Yes, Crone's gone off, Patterson back on, but a very casual attempt at goal then, but he knew exactly what he was doing, Lee Williams.
Back in the centre now with umpire Byers. It's Patterson against Furman. Up they go. Furman wins it beautifully down to a teammate in Gilbert. He ran through the centre. His kick long. Up looking there for John Maguire. Maguire's got the run. Does it nicely. Fires at goal offline across the face and through for behind. Almost the quick reply from Geelong.
And Geelong's best passage of the play, I reckon, for the day, Jock.
Excellent passage of play. Got it out of the centre beautifully. Maguire offline, however, and through for behind. 4 goals the difference. 7-4 Bendigo, 3-4 Geelong. From the kick out, close to the boundary line. In fact, it's over. Is it a penalty free kick for Geelong? Yes, it is. It wasn't touched, and they've got the penalty free between the forward flank and forward pocket. Short pass finds a teammate, and Geelong in possession 20 metres closer to goal. Player down there looks like it might be Fedke. Carl Fedke it is. Moved from the back line into the forward line in their second term. Being very quiet. I fancy he's a bit too far out to score, and he comes. Long kick, offline. Flyers fly. Nobody can take it. Tyack gets up high, taps it over the boundary line, and there'll be a throw-in right next to the behind post with Geelong deep into attack. 22 minutes of play gone, second quarter from the throw-in. Patterson there, can't get it down for Bendigo. McDougall's in there also, picked up by Green. He's dispossessed. They're working overtime to Bendigo defence. Lenigan kicks it off the ground, finds a teammate. That teammate's Bill Mithen. He snapped at goal and put it through. And there's the fourth on the board for Geelong. 4-4-28, trailing Bendigo, 7-4-46, and that's on the Brian Walsh Shower screen scoreboard. See, that was a good quick goal and a good quick piece of thinking from Lenigan. Kicked it off the ground. found Mithen in space. Mithen turned around and said, "This'll do me, thank you very much," from 10 metres out.
Well, this is a crucial 10 minutes or so before half-time now. If one of the sides kicks a couple of goals, then it makes all the difference.
Certainly does. 3 straight kicks the difference, 18 points as we approach the 24-minute mark, second term.
That's true, Jock. Actually, if Geelong kicked a couple of quick ones now, Bendigo's good half would be almost frittered away because they've been the better side. They deserve their 3-goal break.
Back in the centre now, Patterson and Furman again. Up they go. Furman wins it nicely. It's taken by McIver. He kicks into a wall of players. The ricochet's picked up by Evans. Feeds it nicely. It goes out in the direction of Brosnan. Geelong into attack again. Hartney in front. Relieves the pressure. Kick up, poor kick, offline, and it's marked by Hoyles on the wing. John Hoyles for Geelong, wing, grandstand side, swings play into centre half forward. Geelong with the numbers, and a mark's taken down there by number 14, Rob Gilbert. He feeds off quickly with a hand pass. They go forward, Geelong. It's picked up down there by Mithen. He's had a snap at goal. This time the accuracy's not there from Mithen, and he's put it over the boundary line on the full, and a penalty free kick to be taken by Matty Allen right beside the behind post. 7-4-46 Bendigo, 4-4-26 Geelong. Allen's kick, long, swimming pool side half-back flank. The numbers with Geelong, nobody can mark. Harris in there working hard, so's Tyak. Ball hits the turf, players dive on top of it, and the umpire will bounce on the half-forward flank with Geelong into attack. Shane Healy, tell us all about it.
Well, Mithen, Nichols and Gilbert, since he's been on, all doing well for Geelong this quarter, Jock, and especially in this last 10 minutes as the Geelong side attempts to claw its way back into the game before half-time. They're 3 down. John Williams took it away from that ball up. Kick deep. Burke dropped what he should have taken. Hand pass goes to Michael Lenigan. I'm sure he'd love to snare this, and he has, I reckon. He's kicked many a goal from there in his days. And he's kicked a beauty on the run, the Geelong captain, to lift the country football champions to within 2 goals of the challengers, the Bendigo Football League. Geelong on to 5-4-34, and Bendigo leading by 2 goals now, 7-4-46.
Unexcusable dropped mark then from Francis Burke cost Bendigo dearly.
Well, he hasn't made too many mistakes today, Burke, and under the pressure of the situation, these things can happen. But I agree with you, Billy, it did cost a goal because Lenigan was quick to swoop, and he made Bendigo pay very, very dearly indeed. Great player, Lenigan, and although he's looked a little bit slow on occasions today, I'm sure his possession tally at half-time will still indicate he's been a pretty fair player. Patterson finds an extra yard at the bounce and jumps high. Gets it down to McDougall, who works it wide, and Bendigo's away. Wicks has been just a little bit quiet, but he runs across the diamond now and drives to Lee Williams, who's got the sit and couldn't mark. Starbuck, Bendigo's best player, and kicks a great goal. And Starbuck is playing a blinder. He's reading the footy as Michael Roth used to do last year for Castlemaine, and he kicked a beautiful reply there. Bendigo take a 3-goal lead again, 8-4 to 5-4.
You're right, Shane. He's on fire at the moment, Starbuck, but on occasions his finishing hasn't been good, but that time right through the middle and a vital goal for Bendigo. That 3-goal lead back again.
52 to 34. The board's wrong. It's exactly a 3-goal lead. 18 points. 8-4-52 to 5-4-34. Richard Jones, we're 26 minutes into the second stanza.
Well, the ball's down in the centre again, Shane. Oh, Patterson's up high again. Gets it down in the direction of Mark Clue. He can't pick it up. It's ricocheted off a couple of players' feet. It's Stephen McDougall who gets the handball out to Bertie McIver. Been a busy player this afternoon, McIver. In goes Stephen McDougall. Tries to tap it across to McIver. Oh, it's been kicked off the ground again by Geelong. In there, working hard for them is Carl Fedke. He crunches one of his own players to the ground, and applying the tackle to that player who went to the ground was Rick Marklew.
No place for faint hearts that time in there, Richard.
That was very, very tough indeed, Shane. Directly in front of us, in front of the press box here, and this is umpire Rhodes from the Geelong area who bounced the ball straight in front of us. Big Russell Parks goes up. He can't get the ball down. It comes down to Gilbert. The ball's worked out in the direction of Wicks on the far wing. Oh, it's bouncing awkwardly for Wicks. He finally picks it up. Elects to handball. Held it a little too long. Was pulled to the ground. Hartney coming through from his back pocket. Did the relieving work. Kicked off the ground by Geelong to Allen. And Lockie Butler has pulled in a nice one-handed mark. On the half-forward line. Just in front of the mud patch at centre half forward. His kick goes long. Butler's into full forward. Lee Williams can't mark. On the ground is Tyak. Tyak still in there. Comes away with a football. Caught around the neck, Tyak. Any free kick? Yes, it is. A free kick to little Peter Tyak. He deserved it. He was in first for the ball, was Tyak. And Tyak has got a deserved free kick only about 25 metres out from goal.
Certainly deserved it, but it was fairly amusing to watch the umpire pay that decision when he was sitting on the ground.
It was. Well, this is Peter Tyak, the Bendigo rover, and of course plays for the South Bendigo Football Club. Very deliberate Peter Tyak. The clock's into the time-on period in this second quarter. Tyack lining up now. Doesn't look too bad off the boot, and the wind's brought it back. It's another goal to Bendigo. Peter Tyack, the man who's kicked the goal, went into the pack after the ball. The ball was his object, and he came out with a free kick, and from that free kick, he's made no mistake at all.
27 minutes of time gone, second term, Geelong 5-4-32, trailing the 4X Bendigo Football League 9-4-58. Good comeback by Bendigo after Geelong having a series of attacks and looking like they were going to break this Bendigo stranglehold.
Yes, they're steadying at the MCG. Richmond 6-9-45 lead Hawthorn 6-2-38.
Back in the centre now, Furman against Patterson. Patterson wins it, taken by Bradbury for Bendigo. Up to half forward, nobody can mark. Starbuck in there, taps it to nobody in particular. The ball taken by Applefoot. Geelong clear, only to the wing. They're in trouble. It's picked up by Parks. Feeds nicely out to Bradbury. Bradbury goes short. Chance of a mark to Mark Lou. Knocked away by Fetke over the line and out of bounds. And there'll be a throw in at half forward with Bendigo into attack. Bendigo kicking to the city end goal, and they're doing it nicely at the moment. They won't let Geelong back into this football match. From the throw-in, up they go. No ruckman gets near it. It's taken by Williams. He's lifted his work rate in the second term. It goes to a wall of players. Nobody can get it out. And finally the umpire blows the whistle, and he'll bounce the ball between wing and half forward. Bounce of the football now at half forward. Bendigo into attack. Over the top, it's Fetke. Hits it down and finds a teammate. The player out there was Nichols. He's under a lot of pressure. The boundary line's too close, and this time it'll be thrown in. Geelong working at about 5 metres closer to their goal.
And that pressure you talk about came from Peter Bradbury, who's playing a blinder and doing a lot of hard things that are going unnoticed.
From the throw-in over the back, Parks it is, but it's sarked by Geelong from the tap-in. Geelong player into the centre of the ground, but coming through Burke. Burke for Bendigo, switches play to the grandstand side, finds Andrew McDougall in space. McDougall goes long, looks for Mark Lou and finds him. Mark Lou, number 5, recruited from Wang Rovers, goes short into the pocket, and Lockie Butler, the ruck rover for Bendigo, has taken the mark. Butler on the 50-metre line at the moment. He's looking for options. Chance for another sortie forward by Bendigo before half-time. Into the square, Parks, big grab, 10 metres out. Russell Parks, he's taken a couple of them so far today. That was another one. Beautiful mark,
yes,
and he'll line up from 10 metres out on a very slight angle. Russell Parks has kicked 2 this afternoon so far, both in the first term. There's the siren for half-time. Geelong will finish on 5-4-32 for 2 quarters football, and we'll wait on Russell Parks' kick. In he comes, he's put it through, and Bendigo 10-4-64. Great first half of football by Bendigo. Shane Healy.
A fantastic half, and considering that about 7 minutes ago Geelong had crept within 2 straight kicks, one had the feeling Bendigo's hard work had been in vain, and Geelong were going to come into the half-time closer than what they should have been. But with that last little burst, Bendigo has been able to maintain, in fact, reassert its supremacy in this football game. 10-4-64 at the long interval to 5-4-34. That scoreboard's wrong up there. Geelong should be 5-4-34. So a 5-goal break. Bendigo's had many, many good contributors, and Richard and I will discuss those in a minute. But Richard, great to see Ray Slug Jordan in the box here with us, who successfully coached the VCFL Teal Cup team just a few weeks ago, and Johnny Forbes down in front of us, a great old mate of ours, now with, of course, the Puma company, and we might be able to have a chance to talk to Ray and Forbesy during half-time. In fact, I think Jock's going to have a quick chat to Slug now, which would be great. And Slug, from me, congratulations. That win against the South Aussies was a beauty.
And, of course, we had a couple of Bendigo boys in that side too, Ray. We had Wayne Campbell and we had Ben Sexton.
You're right too, Richard, and it's good to hear a nice unbiased call going on here today.
I'm glad you like it.
You're a good judge.
Good on you, Shane.
Slug, thanks for coming up for
That's all right, Joe.
Certainly, I must add my congratulations to those of the boys. A terrific effort in the Teal Cup, mate.
Yeah.
You must be a very proud man.
Well, I thought it was fantastic for the country people. Most of the recruiting guys, like Neville Strauss and Paul Armstrong and many of those guys are all through the country area that really have developed a good rapport with most of the very good young kids, and they know more about those kids than I ever looked like knowing. And of course, when they picked them from the combined side down at Mornington, it was good to get them all together. I think it was tremendous that we put them to a little bit of a test for about 4 or 5 weeks to get them to travel 200 and 300 Ks for training on a Sunday morning. They all responded very well.
Slug, they tell me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you had the opportunity to coach either of those sides for Victoria.
No, I was going to get the flicko from the city, as a matter of fact.
Really?
Yeah, a couple of directors haven't taken too kindly to me over the couple of years. And when Mark Patterson came at me and said, well, look, if you're not going to be coaching the city, how would you go coaching the country? And I said, oh, well, you know, it's another challenge. And I accepted it gratefully, and the things worked out quite like a Cinderella dream, really.
Obviously, you would have expected a good performance from the country boys, but I guess to win it must have maybe almost exceeded the expectations for their first year in the competition.
No, I was always worried about their fitness, and when we picked this side to go and play, well, from Mornington, then we had to play a round robin against the two metropolitan sides down at VFL Park. We gave them a month program that they had to do an agility running situation that went for about 30 minutes each night, and they responded fantastic. And that was the start of when it looked like, you know, they might have been looking good side, but then we picked up 5 kids that were draft choices, like Sexton, Grant, McNamara, Cameron from Footscray, and Paul Hills, who plays at Essendon, and that sort of just topped us off.
Slug, there's a lot of talk, of course, about the number of junior footballers falling off in the country, I guess also in the metro area. But is Country Victoria still producing top-line footballers? I
think you'll find that 3 out of the first 12, or 3 out of the first 6 picked, will come from the country in the draft choice in November. I think Bannock from Ronwan Woodside down Lee and Gathaway is a certainty to be drafted. I wouldn't be surprised if Groves from, where's Groves come from? Maryborough might be in the first 3 or 4. And unluckily, they can't get at the best kid, a kid named Jason McCartney, 6'3", 14 years of age, and played centre half back from nil. I mean, if everyone could get their hands on him, he's like a bit of gold dust running around the ground, and all the recruiting officers are jumping up and down waiting to get at him, but he won't become available for 2 years.
Uncashed assets.
Oh, look, and nobody in the city metropolitan side had any type of player that you would sort of be saying, gee, I'd love to have him, not like the country areas. Yes, Rich.
That town that you mentioned there, that's a bit of a household name, Ray. Ron Woodside.
Oh, Ron Woodside, yeah. I mean,
there'll be a few live down there.
I thought the fella was stuttering when he said it to me, you know, but there is a little place down there, and he plays second division football. I mean, right. It's a minor league, and that's what makes him so good. As a matter of fact, he played last year at 14 and didn't make the All-Australian. This year at 15, he's made the All-Australian. He's got one more year of Teal Cup. That's how good a player he is.
Well, actually, at the luncheon today, Jack Huxtable in his address, the VCFL mentioned that I think it was 6 VCFL Victorian country boys got in the All-Australian side.
Yeah, they did, which was very good because only 3 of the Metropolitan boys made the All-Australian side, so it was a big feather in all those young fellas' cap. But they did work very hard for the last month and a half, and to be travelling down 300 and 400 k's, some of them, a round trip, and we give them a bit of lunch, snag or 2, you know, at lunchtime, and away they'd go home again and be back the next Saturday.
Lazars was booked out that day.
Yeah, we just couldn't get hold of it, Jock, yeah.
Mate, big game, of course, today. Big day of football for Bendigo. Your impressions of the first half?
Well, Bendigo seemed to just have the ball beautifully on the stringer. So they didn't kick 6 or 7 goals in the first quarter, but it was very interesting. I'd been asked by Essendon to come and they've marked a couple of people to have a look at. Bert McIver from Eaglehawk, but Matt Higgins and Damien Tresize aren't playing.
Damien Tresize, of course, got a bad...
did he?
He had a broken jaw some 8 weeks ago. He came back and played 2 games and got another whack on it. So Damien, unfortunately, would have been in the side, but unable to take his place.
But I was quite impressed.
Yet to be brought on the ground.
Yeah, I was quite impressed with Frank Burke on the half-back flank. Looking at it from a league point of view, you know, I know he's 24 years of age, but it looks like he's 6'2", and he's picking up the little guys in Lenigan and who's the other?
Mithen, isn't it?
And Mithen.
Yeah.
So I thought he's done a very good job. Looking at it from a senior point of view, it was a very bad dropping of the mark that cost him a goal down there, but shows a bit of dash. Got beautiful skills on either side of the body, and 6'2". He looks a good player.
Well, as a coach yourself, mate, which camp would you rather be standing in at the moment?
Well, if I was in the Geelong camp coming out after half-time, I'd be hoarse.
All right.
Be a lot of yelling and screaming down, Jock, I'll tell you that.
Do you think Bendigo can go on with it?
Well, if they don't, they all should be lined up outside the main street. We all run around and kick their bums.
That's fair comment, mate. Thanks very much. We've been talking to Slug Jordan, Ray Slug Jordan, successful coach of the Victorian Country Football League, Teal Cup side victorious over the best in the country. We thank Ray very much for his time. Let's quickly now look at some information from this first half of football.
Well, the goal kickers, Jock, for the first half, Bendigo first, of course, leading at the moment 10-4-64 to Geelong 5-4-34. Geelong goal kickers, 3 to Russell Parks and 3 to Lee Williams, 2 to Stephen McDougall and singles to Paul Starbuck and Peter Tyack. All singles on the Geelong side of the ledger, and the goal kickers there are Michael Lenigan, Ron Watt, Bill Mithen, Wayne Tyquin and John Evans.
Anyone who's just joined us, half-time scores again. Bendigo 10-4-64. The Bendigo League in front here in the Country Championship Grand Final over the Geelong League 5-4-34. Halfway to realising that 17-year dream of bringing home another country championship. It's been a long time between drinks. 2 losing grand finals in 79 here against the Latrobe Valley, and in last year against the Geelong League down in Geelong. Maybe 89 is going to be Bendigo's year. Well, in an hour or so we'll know. Billy Ashby, what about some stats and some better players with Anthony on that first half of action?
Yeah, I thought Bendigo had a lot of solid contributors in that second quarter. Just going through them, you could go to Starbuck, great quarter of football. Lowry, hard-working player. Rick Marklew, exceptionally dangerous across the half-forward line. Russell Parks at centre half-forward, playing an exceptionally good game. Hartney across the half-back line, very, very reliable player. McDougall playing well. Francis Burke, as Slug mentioned. Darren Harris, I thought, has been a fairly good player, the little square over. And Lee Williams at full forward, I don't think you could leave him out. His contribution's been exceptionally good also. Looking at some stats in that second quarter, Paul Starbuck had 6 kicks and a couple of marks. Rick Marklew, 6 kicks, 1 handball and 3 marks. Peter Tyack, 5 kicks, 1 handball. We come down to Brendan Hartney, 5 kicks, 2 handballs and a mark. Bertie McIver continued to do exceptionally well, 7 kicks, 1 handball, no marks that quarter. Lockie Butler, 5 kicks, 1 handball and 2 marks. Come down to Francis Burke with 6 kicks, 2 handballs and a mark. And they've done exceptionally well so far. They've had 64 kicks in that second quarter to Geelong, who had 50. The handballs are very interesting. Bendigo in that second quarter had 20 handballs, while Geelong had 29. And we must say, though, that those 29 handballs for Geelong, a lot of them were under pressure. They weren't setting play up. They were trying to get out of trouble.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think Geelong were under a lot of pressure for a great deal of that quarter. They took the ascendancy, Anthony, for about 10 minutes between, say, about the 15 and the 23, 24, 25-minute mark, and did threaten to get going. But my feeling is they're leaving it to too few.
Yes, I think if you look at the stats, you'll probably show that. As you said, that 10 minutes, they just started to get on top there, but Bendigo players rallied. Billy Mithen had 5 kicks in that quarter and Eddie 5, and they were 2 of the players that got Geelong going. But after that, you've got Brad Nichols, who's also a bit of a dangerous player. He had 5 kicks in that quarter, but after that, you start to get only down to the 1s and 2s, and as you said, that's leaving it to too few.
It's interesting looking at stats, isn't it? Because I would have thought, although Bradbury's played wide of John Williams, you'd say it's been a pretty even duel, and probably Bradbury has had a little bit more influence for his team than Williams has for Geelong, though certainly we can't leave Johnny Williams out of Geelong's better players. Yet, looking down stats, and stats can lie sometimes, Williams is the top possession getter on the ground at the moment. He's had 9 kicks and 9 handballs for a total of 18 possessions, and I think as I look down Bendigo's earlier, McIver with a total of 16 is the top with 14 kicks and 2 handballs, and possibly a couple there not too far behind him. I think Bradbury might have been 1, and the boy at the top, Mark Clue, might have been another. Mark Clue with 11, 14, and Bradbury with 13. But Johnny Williams is very much like Greg. He just diesels along, keeps getting that foot in, keeps driving it forward, has set up a couple of majors, and just looking down the Geelong bit of plays, you'd certainly have to mention Lenigan, who's been a good contributor. Nichols, particularly in the second quarter. Hoyles has been steady over both quarters. Mark Hall and Lee Williams, I'd say a pretty even duel down there. Perhaps Lee Williams with a couple of strong marks, just having the edge, but Hall's been a good contributor the way he's run the ball out of defence. Brosnan been quite a steady player down there, and I thought particularly in the second quarter you'd have to say that Mithen and Gilbert started to come into the game, both fairly dangerous, but Geelong have had too many players who've come in and out of the game without being good regular contributors. At the moment, Bendigo seem to be teaming better, and very, very few passengers on the Bendigo side. I'd say, as you look down the Geelong side, very, very few players you'd say are having a big day. On the other side of the ledger with Bendigo, very, very few players you'd say are having a bad day. And Richard, I guess that's the reason they're 5 goals in front.
Well, I agree, Shane. I've been most impressed with the performance of Rick Marklew on the half-forward line. Marklew has played extremely well. He's got great skills. A couple of times, I think we mentioned in the call, he picked the ball up from round about his bootlaces. He did not falter one step. He just picked the ball up, one grab, and away he went. Playing a great game, Marklew. Not a very old player. I think he's only 20 or 21 and has been very steady. We mentioned Starbuck, Stephen McDougall, Burke, Hartney. As you say, there haven't been many passengers in that team. They're all contributing. Andrew McDougall ran off the back line a couple of times. And what about the tackle that Lowry put on Mick Lenigan? Mick Lenigan was steaming up the ground, taking a couple of bounces, and Lowry pulled him in. Very, very dependable player, Kieran Lowry, playing his 21st or 22nd interleague game.
All right, let's look at goal kickers now for both sides in the first half of football. Billy, you've got them there?
Yes, thanks, Jock. Paul Starbucks kicked 1 for Bendigo, Russell Parks 3, Peter Tyack 1, Steve McDougall 2 and Lee Williams 3 for a total of 10-4-64 at half-time. While for Geelong, McLennigan 1, Ron Watt 1, Bill Mithden 1, Wayne Tyquin 1 and John Evans 1. 5 single goal scorers for Geelong.
All right, that's it. Half-time at the Queen Elizabeth Oval. Bendigo 10-4-64, leading Geelong 5-4-34. Just before we go, Anthony, you've got an update from Melbourne?
Yes, the Sydney Swans 10-9-69 lead Footscray 5-4-34. Richmond 7-9-51 trail Hawthorn, who are 9-3-57, and a very fiery quarter at the MCG. Dermot Brereton got reported and a couple of stretcher cases for Richmond. So
just before we do break, we must say a special hello to the wife of Harold Hasser-Hall, our team manager here at Bendigo. That's Helen. Helen's in hospital up at Kelliana, I believe, and all involved in the Bendigo side send Helen their best. She's been a hard worker for Bendigo, backing up Hass's hard work. And Helen, we hope your recovery is speedy and 100%. And I'm sure you're listening, as I know you are this afternoon. I can tell you that the boys are doing an excellent job so far, and I'd be a little bit confident at this stage.
Also, of course, Lynn Strosh is recovering too from an operation. Neville, the Bendigo League coach, our best wishes go to Lynn Strosh for a speedy recovery.
Yes, Lynn, I'd say Neville's doing enough to keep the job next year at this stage. All right, we'll take a break now for 10 minutes, and then we'll be back. We'll catch our breath, and we'll be back to bring you all the second half action, and plenty of it there will be. You're listening to Local Football on 3CCC FM.
Side just back out.
Can you do us a favour? Give Beaver a ring and tell her to cross back. Oh, in about a minute.
Could we have the ground cleared, please? Could all spectators please leave the ground? We have the ground cleared, please. Could all those people up the city end please clear the ground?
Okay. No, I'm pretty right, thanks, Trish. Can't Bendigo.
Just what's that bloody under there? It's wet in places.
Ah.
Half-time at the Queen Elizabeth Oval. It's the Vic Health Country Championships Grand Final in the Bendigo Football League. The 4X Bendigo Football League, 10-4-64, leading the Geelong Football League, 5-4-34. Players are now out on the ground, in position, and we're only seconds away from a start in this vital third quarter of football. Bendigo to date have answered every challenge. Shane, can they hang on from here? In fact, not hang on. Can they go on with it from here?
Took the words out of my mouth. It's not a matter of hanging on. They've got to go on with it. I think they can, yes. Emond in the rooms, very, very fired up with Geelong. As Slug said, he'd be getting himself hoarse, and that's exactly what he did down there. Neville Strosh just asking his players to go on with the job, to keep committing themselves, to keep motivating themselves. But I know that Geelong will throw the pressure out right now at Bendigo. A similar situation this time last year when Bendigo came back at Geelong early in the third quarter. I'm sure Geelong will throw out the challenge. Here's Jock Clark to take up the commentary and see if we can boot Bendigo home.
The ball bounced in the centre from umpire Byers. Patterson goes up, wins it down, but it's Geelong first kick out of the centre, intercepted by Frank Burke. Burke goes wide. Parks, a great effort to mark on the wing, can't do so. In there for Geelong, battling hard, Fedke. Whistle on play, umpire will bounce the ball. Centre wing grandstand side. Start of third quarter here, and Geelong trail Bendigo by 30 points. From the bounce, up goes Parks, close to the boundary line. In fact, it's fisted over by Fedke, and there'll be a throw-in on the centre wing. Bendigo in this third term are kicking to the Barnard Street end of the Queen Elizabeth Oval, and Geelong kicking to the city end of the ground. Waiting for this boundary throw-in now. Up they go. Parks against, in fact, Evans it was on that occasion. Evans gets it down, taken by Williams. Back to Evans. Scrambly old kick into the centre of the ground. Picked up by Geelong's Mithen. He dodges and turns nicely. Goes for space, finds a teammate out there in number 17, David McDonald, on the ground for the first time. McDonald in the centre of the ground, goes long, drives Geelong into attack. Teammate down there, Gilbert, under pressure. Chris Green comes out nicely, hands off to Steve McDougall. McDougall goes short, looking for a Bradbury, over the top Fedke, fists the ball away, and there'll be a throw in between wing and half forward with Geelong into attack. No change to the half-time score as yet, a minute and a half of play gone. From the throw-in, Parks in the ruck now, gets it down, intercepted by Williams, to Eddie, head over to Brosnan, a kick, up to half forward, in front now, a chance for Mithen to run the ball down. Hartney with commitment, beats him to it, picks the football up, now he's upset by Geelong opponents. Furman's in there, not doing much at ground level, chance for Burke, the ball picked up by Hartney again, hand pass over to Harris, picked up by Steve McDougall, back to Harris this time, over to Lowry. Lowry on the wing, drives Bendigo, long, into attack. Williams in front, should have marked, didn't. Under pressure, gets it off to Bradbury. Bradbury's kicked into an open goal square, bounces the wrong way. The Butler's there, and he's put it through. First six-pointer on the board, third term, goes to Bendigo. They move to 11-4-70, leading Geelong 5-4-34. 4 minutes of time gone, third quarter, and that's on the 40-wing scoreboard. And Shane, what a great start.
Yes, certainly read that beautifully. Butler, I thought it was Starbuck for a moment, the way he raced in, but it is Lockie Butler. He read it superbly, Jock, and the good work came over that far side. It finished up with Lowry, and his long driving kick got it in there. But certainly you'd have to say that is the goal Bendigo wanted. They've got a 6-goal break. They should be able to go on with it.
Back in the centre, Patterson now wins it down for Bendigo, but a chance to get it out by McDonald of Geelong. Can't do so. Players over the ball. Nobody can win it, and the players pick themselves up. The umpire will bounce right in the centre of the ground. Bendigo 11-4, Geelong 5-4. Umpire Byers it is, bounces the ball right in the centre on the cricket pitch. Up they go. Patterson, a good knock, out looking for Mark Lew. Can he pick it up? Does so. Fires a hand pass. Back to Patterson. Patterson's at the 50-metre mark. Goes towards Williams. He's caught behind. A hand pass intercepted by Tyack. Under pressure, whistle on play, caught with a football, and Geelong free kick in the last line of defence, 10 metres out from goal.
And Jockey was nearly through the tackle too.
Almost. Short kick, short pass from that Geelong player, finds a teammate in Hewitt. Hewitt now on half-back, finds another player down there in Brad Nichols. Nichols runs through half-back, goes into the centre of the ground and finds Williams. He plays on, caught with a football, a chance for Harris. He's got it now. Dodges, turns, goes wide, looking for McIver. Wing, swimming pool side. McIver can't mark. Plenty of pressure put on by Brosnan. Geelong now come through. This time it looks like it's Tyquin. No, teammate down there, it was Nichols. Kicks up to half forward. Player battling for Geelong is Gilbert. Can't take the football. On the ground is Green, working very hard for Bendigo. Finally a whistle, and the ball will be bounced inside 50. Geelong in attack.
No way was that ball going to get away from Chris Green. He was absolutely desperate for it.
Umpire puts the ball down. It's Furman and Patterson. Furman wins this one. A chance for Green. Can't grab the football. Lowry's in there battling hard. Loose ball picked up by Gilbert. He's had a snap. Did it go through? Wait on it. The boundary up. The goal umpire said yes. And it's a Geelong goal. There's the reply. Geelong moved to 6-4-40. Trailing Bendigo 11-4-70. And good strong work from Geelong there. 40 metres from goal. They got it out to a player in a little bit of space. He had a snap. Matt Allen was held out by the strength of Tyquin, and the ball just went through for a 6-pointer. On the 40-wink scoreboard, third quarter is elapsed by 7 minutes, and Bendigo 11-4-70, leading Geelong 6-4-40. Here's Shane Healy.
Well, there's the bounce down, and Williams trying to work it out of the centre. That goal by Gilbert has given Geelong a little bit of heart. But Bendigo have still got a very handy 5-goal break. Good work now as they link up here from the half-back line. McIver across to Andrew McDougall, then on to Bradbury. He runs down the grandstand wing and decides to centre it. Looking for Lee Williams at the true centre half forward, and Williams outmarks Hall beautifully. That was a great mark from Lee Williams. He's got a fine pair of hands, this fellow. Possesses that great Williams trait of being a little bit slow, but certainly playing a very, very good game indeed.
Can play a bit.
He can play a lot, and he's kicked a big one up toward the goal square. Ball's punched down to the ground. It's in the forward pocket. Lockie Butler working hard in there. A goal here to Bendigo will be handy. Nearly a throw out of the pack there, and it was let go by the umpire, and Geelong able to clear here through Hewitt. He kicks down looking to the wing position for Brosnan, who's having a great duel with McIver. Bendigo win out because they got numbers across. Steve McDougall goes one way, then the other. Still got possession, goes inboard to Patterson. Now from 50, Patterson bombs one to the square. Over the back, Furman, and a good mark taken by Fedke, in fact. And Fedke taking a strong mark down there in the goal square. Feeds off the hand pass to the fullback Hall, and he kicks back to 50 metres. Steve McDougall, though, chips in to take the easy mark. McDougall sees the lead coming through Bradbury. Couldn't take the mark. Good Geelong defence there, and it's John Fitzgerald trying to clear. Gets a push, and he'll take a free kick from the true fullback position. So Geelong defending grimly. They go to Brad Nichols. Plenty of pressure applied by Ronnie Wicks. Nichols has had the better of that duel today. Geelong with numbers, clear it down the wing. Johnny Williams gets away this time and takes the mark on the wing, and he's got no options whatsoever. Eventually hand passes inboard, 3-on-1, but a punch forward by the Geelong player there got them back to Nichols, and he's running on the half forward line. Dragged down after he kicked. Look for Tyquin. He's got Green to beat. Green's had the better of that duel. Sees the ball close to the boundary. Hand passes over the top to Matty Allen, who's showing good support, and on the half-back flank Matty Allen drives down looking for Tyak, but John Williams across in front to take a strong mark. Williams has just ground and ground here today, and well, I said earlier I thought he might have trouble seeing out the game, but he's still working well. Gets it to Fitzgerald, who finds Tyquin, and Tyquin's taken a good 2-grab mark. He's on 50, and I see now that Geelong are just trying to get their smaller players into the game. Nichols, McDonald, and also Fitzgerald. They need a lift from all those players. Tyquin 50 out. We're looking over his shoulders to the city end from the grandstand forward pocket. Left foot kick's going to make the square. Geelong Flyers want it. They can't take the mark. Ball to the ground. Who's there? Geelong are there. They've got numbers. Hand pass goes backwards. It's taken for them and shot for goal this time by Gilbert. And he's offline. And in fact, I don't think he's scored. No, it's out of bounds on the full. So the 5-goal margin remains before Richard Jones. Billy Ashby with a quick comment. I think that ball was touched, was it, Bill?
Yes, it was, Shane.
Okay, so 9 minutes in and Bendigo by 5 goals.
Thrown into play beside the point post at the city end goal. Chance for a Bendigo play on the bottom of the pack. He works it out to Hartney. Hartney will relieve Bendigo. High floating punt kick into the centre. Up goes Mark Clue with one hand. Umpire's pulled out a free kick. Advantage rule play to for Geelong. In there working hard was Hewitt. He drives up into the forward line. Oh, good mark to Geelong in the forward line. It's that big man Tyquin. Big, bulky Wayne Tyquin has marked inside the 50-metre line, and he's going to go back and have a shot for goal and see if he can post his second and Geelong's 7th. This is Wayne Tyquin, the man who kicked Geelong to victory at the St Albans Oval in East Geelong last year. Very deliberate is Tyquin. Wiped the ball on the jumper. He's over the ball now. Coming in very deliberately is Wayne Tyquin. Stays way back from Chris Green on the mark. The ball's gone towards goal. It's not too bad. It's there from Wayne Tyquin, and that's his second and Geelong's 7th for the day. Well, a much-needed goal from Geelong on that occasion, Shane, because they were struggling a little bit in the second quarter.
Well, he's got 2 goals now, Taekwon, and certainly a good duel down there with Green. I'd say about even money for the afternoon. Green gave away a free kick early, and Taekwon a strong mark that time, but one just senses that with Nichols and McDonald and these smaller players, Fitzgerald and other, Johnny Williams working well in the centre this quarter, probably on top of Bradbury. The Geelong are still in with the sniff. There's 4 goals the difference. Richard Jones.
Up they go in the air again. Tyack works the ball out from the centre position for Bendigo. In there, leading for the race for the ball. Might have been Hall. Drove it back to Williams. Williams picks it up on one bounce. Long kick to the forward line from Williams. Here's Taekwon leading out in front of Green. Comes off his chest. Green will recover. Kicked off the ground for Geelong by Mithen. Very close to the boundary line in the forward pocket. And in fact, Mithen and Francis Burke will see the ball over the boundary line. In front of the rotunda, Bendigo into attack.
Williams on top at the moment, isn't he?
Williams on top in the centre. You're right there, Anthony. Ball thrown into play. Oh, big Patterson couldn't get it away. It comes down to Butler, though. Works the handball to Hartney. Hartney's chip kick will go over Mark Clue's head, and it's been pulled down there. A mark to Ronnie Watt for Geelong. He goes back into the centre looking for Williams. Spoiled on that occasion by Brosnan, but Brosnan's paid the mark. He pulls it in, drives Geelong towards full forward again. Flyers wanted, but waiting down and taking a great mark for Bendigo in defence is captain Brendan Hartney. Sees space on the wing for Bertie McIver. Bert McIver drives on further field to Mark Clue. Mark Clue's got the mark on the wing on the swimming pool side. Drives up into attack for Bendigo. Starbuck was the target. He couldn't pull it in. And there's a stacks on the mill situation on the swimming pool side. And Starbuck is the man who's going to come up off the ground with the free kick.
High tackle.
Starbuck looking for Williams at full forward. Up goes Williams. Overran the ball a little bit on that occasion. Harris was the battler on the ground for Bendigo, but the ball's on the ground, and I think the umpire is coming in with the arms crossed across the chest, and he'll ball it up in the Bendigo forward line. 11-4-70 Bendigo. 7-4-46 Geelong. Parks does the ruck work. Comes down to Geelong. Worked out there to Bendigo, and then there was Stephen McDougall. He's ridden to the ground with the football. Stephen McDougall, the Bendigo half-forward flanker, and the umpire's going to ball it up once again in almost the same position as he did a couple of seconds ago. Ball to ground in Bendigo's attacking zone. Here's a chance for Bendigo. Parks gets the ball over the top. Geelong defence works well. Handball comes out towards Hall. He drives Geelong out of danger, but only as far as Alan Patterson. He works off the handball to McIver. McIver, the little chip pass over there to Stephen McDougall, and McDougall on the very edge of the 50-metre line in front of the scoreboard, the Northwest Country Credit scoreboard. Stephen McDougall fancies himself. He's going to have a long shot in towards the Barnard Street end goals. Ball's on its way, punched to clear from the from the Bendigo forwards by the Geelong defence.
In fact, it hit the behind post, Richard, and out of bounds on the full.
Hit the behind post, out of bounds on the full, and the Geelong defenders will bring it back into play. Trying to pick up this player now, in the back pocket for Geelong. Right foot kick from that play. It was Fedke. Long kick towards the half-back line. Over the back of the pack, waiting down there was Wicks. He can't get the ball. Butler's in there. He might scoop the ball up, Butler. No, he can't. It comes off the foot, then the hand, and goes over the line. Swimming pool side of the ground. Bendigo half-forward flank. Well, Bendigo got a 4-goal break. It's been whittled down by 1 by Geelong since half-time. Over the top of the pack goes Hoyles for Geelong. He does a bit of shepherding work. Geelong snaps the ball out towards the wing again, but it's beaten the player before he can get the relieving kick from the half-back line, and it's out of bounds. Swimming pool side, half-forward flank for Bendigo, and Bendigo, of course, attacking the Barnard Street end in this third quarter. Ball into play again. High one into the air. Oh, Parks gets well up. Beautiful tap out to Tyack. Tyack goes towards goal. Who's home for Bendigo? No one there. Williams beaten in the race for the ball by a Geelong opponent. Snap on goal by Harris, but on his knees and marking in the last line of defence is a Geelong defender in Hoyles again. Good player, this fellow Hoyles. He's found a teammate further afield in the back pocket, and he's driven the ball out. Oh, it's gone over the head of his intended target, and Fedke could not get the ball. From the kick in, it's been marked by Bendigo. Butler it is, getting up off the ground, and Butler's taken the mark. Outside 50, so he'd be 55, 60 metres out from goal. Long kick from him needed in towards full forward. Goes in towards full forward. Oh, Williams up over the top. Can't quite get it down. Tried to get it down to Bradbury. The Geelong defence through Fedke works the ball out. Back towards the centre of the field. Chance in there for Furman. He couldn't pick it up. Nichols does though, and the Geelong wingman looks further afield for a teammate in Mithen. Mithen's pulled in the mark, centre field for Geelong. Geelong desperately need a goal. Goes on to McDonald, the interchange player. He works the handball across to Gilbert. Gilbert snap-on goal for Geelong, marked by Green in the last line of defence. Quick handball out to Matthew Allen, and Allen has got Lowry out here on the half-back flank, rotunda side, and Lowry is pulled in the mark for Bendigo in the back pocket. Geelong going to the city end goals. Lowry looking up here for Starbuck. Punched clear of him by Williams, who set himself for the mark, then realised that he'd have to tap it away from Starbuck, and he does, and it's gone out of bounds.
Well, Ronnie Wicks is going off the ground, and I've been looking at that one for a couple of quarters now, and McConville's coming on. Wicks having a quiet day and beaten by Nichols.
Throw in centre wing, grandstand side. Parks to do the heavy work for Bendigo. Gets it down, but it's intercepted by McDonald. He can't break clear of the pack. In there working hard, Darren Harris for Bendigo, but the umpire's blown the whistle and he'll bounce the football. It's still on the grandstand side, centre wing. Bendigo 11.470, Geelong 7.446, and we've played 17 minutes of time in the third term. Umpire Byers it is, puts the ball down. Parks wins it, but it's intercepted by Geelong. A high kick up to the 50-metre mark. Chance for Alan Patterson. Couldn't get the second bite at the mark. Francis Burke intercepts. His kick up to the wing in front. Starbuck's mark for Bendigo. Paul Starbuck it is, the Castlemaine player, plays on now, goes into the centre, looking for McIver, over his head, it's taken by Brosnan, hand pass on to the running McDonald. McDonald goes to the leading Taekwon, he's beaten by Green, hand pass from McDougall, finds Hartney in the back pocket now, goes wide, and McIver's marked at half back. They've got space now, Bendigo, they're going to mount something as McIver runs through the wing, up to half forward, a chance for Mark Lew. Oh, this time he's beaten by Fedke. The big blonde fellow from Geelong goes back along the wing. Over the head of Matty Allen. A chance for Lenigan now. Up to half forward for Geelong. He's got the football. He's under pressure. Fires a hand pass out to McDonald. McDonald goes long and high, and he's found a teammate down there, and the player looks like it's, is it Gilbert? Can you help me with that one, fellows? I couldn't see that player. Beautiful mark just in front of McDougall on that occasion.
I think it is Gilbert.
Yes, it's Rob Gilbert, number 14 for Geelong. He's marked 35 metres out, 45-degree angle.
Pretty vital kick, this, Jock.
Oh, brings the margin back to 3 goals and hasn't been that close for some time.
And they're just edging back in general play, aren't they?
Yes, doing far more around the ground at the moment. Gilbert, in he comes. What's he done? Distance is not a problem. Neither is the accuracy. And he's put it through for another one. And Geelong come back at Bendigo. They move to 8.452, trailing the Bendigo Football League 11.470.
Yes, they can just getting a sniff of it, and the Geelong bench really jumped at that goal. I think they really reckon they've got a big chance now. In Melbourne, Hawthorn 12-3 lead Richmond 8-10.
And a few of these smaller players for Geelong, such as Brad Nichols and also Mithen, very dangerous. Gilbert doing well. David McDonald has given them some bites since he's come on, and their half-back line's getting on top.
Back in the centre now, the ball bounce. Patterson for Bendigo. He's beaten by Evans. Williams of Geelong takes it. He's dispossessed by Butler. A long hand pass feeds Mark Lew. Mark Lew short, looking for Tyak. He's beaten on this occasion for the football. A chance for Hoyles. Oh, a good play by Harris. Taps it out to Parks. Parks at left foot snap at goal for Bendigo. Is offline and through for one behind. Bad luck on that occasion. They move to 11.571, the blue and goals. Geelong 8.452.
Almost brilliantly set up by Harris.
Kick out now from full back. It looks like it's Fedke. He goes short and finds a teammate out in a back pocket, scoreboard side. Furman it is. Goes long towards the wing. Nobody can mark. Fisted away by Bradbury from the pack. Whistle on play. Now the umpire calls play on. Little bit confusing. Had his arms going in the air everywhere. Finally he decides to bounce the football, and it's on half forward with Bendigo into attack. Bounce of the ball, swimming pool side of the Queen Elizabeth Oval. Up they go. Parks in ruck. He's beaten on this occasion. Chance for Bradbury. Can't gather the football. It's gone out wide and it's picked up by McDougall for Bendigo. Short into the pocket. Bendigo mark. Bendigo mark in the pocket. Player down there could be Mark Lew. Yes, it is. Mark Lew would be inside 50, be 40 metres out. Very tight angle in that scoreboard pocket. Very close to the boundary line. Would certainly take an exceptional kick for goal, but certainly a very important one. One Bendigo would love to get back at this stage. Rick Mark Lew from 40 metres. In he comes. Distance is fine. Accuracy, we'll wait on it. Goal umpire says one behind, offline. Last two scoring shots for Bendigo behinds, and they now move to 11.672, leading Geelong 8.452. That's on the 40 wing scoreboard, and we've played 20 minutes of time
third quarter. Ron Watt marks after the kick out. Back pocket, grandstand side, brings it around the wing, and Evans is the target. Patterson at the back. Evans taps down to the front where Hewitt comes through and kicks toward the half-forward line. Hartney, too strong for Eddie. Took a nice chest mark. It wasn't paid. Fit out the hand pass to Bradbury, who gave it on to Butler, back to Bradbury. Bendigo just fiddling a little bit at the moment. They drive to half-forward now. Or Tyack works in hard there with Starbuck. Tyack with strength. Beautifully done. Over the 50-metre line he kicks now up toward half-forward. Oh, nearly a good Bendigo mark taken there by Mark Lou, but it's cleared by the Geelong defenders again down looking for Furman. He couldn't take the mark. Taken by Patterson. Hand pass nowhere. It went to Evans of Geelong. They've got runners on the centre and now Williams takes it. True centre half back. He chips one short and it's taken by McDonald. He's impressed me this quarter. He goes wide to Fitzgerald. The Geelong machine beginning to click. He goes toward half forward, and on the half forward flank Gilbert's got it. Now he's waiting for a Taekwon lead. Is it going to come or is he going to put in a bomb? He's about 75 metres out from goal. He puts in a short one. He finds a teammate here in Brosnan. Brosnan can drill it from 30 on the angle, but he's well offline and hasn't scored. Out of bounds on the full, but it's those players I mentioned before, all involved in that passage of play. Mithen, Nichols, Gilbert, and also Eddie coming into it, and of course Johnny Williams playing a big one.
Gilbert got 2 goals this quarter for Geelong.
There's the kick out from Bendigo. Bradbury punches away from Johnny Williams. It goes very close to the boundary, but Brad Nichols is going to keep it in play, playing a good quarter. Hand passes back to the true wing where it's taken by Williams. Back to Nichols. On to Fitzgerald. This is good footy by Geelong. They're playing better, but the kick a bad one by Fitzgerald taken by Hartney. Now Bendigo switch it as they're wont to do. They go wide and McIver and Mark Clue are the targets out there. McIver's in there first, but good battling by Geelong's Ron Watt. He's played a good quarter, Watt. He's first there. He's tackled, holding the ball for mine. No free kick. Francis Burke's gone quiet. He relieves on the 50-metre line and pops it in short where it's marked here by Bendigo's Darren Harris. Bendigo's small men a little bit quiet this quarter, particularly Harris. Tyack quite good up in the forward pocket. Now Harris traverses the diamond up toward half forward. Oh, strong clash of bodies there. It was Fedke and Bradbury. Both went down. Bendigo crumb at will. Steve McDougall playing a good game. It's right on that diamond corner there, about 70 metres out from the Bendigo goals. Tyack goes in to work hard. They're working it forward in rugby style, Bendigo. And now we're going to see a ball up between the diamond line and the 50 metres.
Bradbury still down. I'm just getting up now as I talk. Bradbury was down on his haunches there for a couple of minutes after that clash with Fedke.
It was a pretty heavy clash. Now, big tap away Evans. McDougall and also Nichols go in hard. Oh, that was a Tiggy Touchwood free kick. It's going to go Geelong's way and be taken, in fact, by John Fitzgerald. I don't know what Terry Emon said to him at half-time, but it's certainly paid dividends because Fitzgerald's played a big quarter and he's had a few mates in the smaller department. Goes now looking for Furman on the true wing position. And big Furman, they're getting a lift from a lot of their important players, Geelong, and they're edging back in the premiership quarter, and they're still not out of this country championship. As he drives Furman toward half-forward now. Patterson, oh, couldn't take the mark. Matty Allen's a little bit slow when the ball hits the ground. It's kicked off the ground toward the 50-metre line, and Burke bursts through, picks it up beautifully and finds in the centre Peter Bradbury. Now he can run and run, he will. He runs out of the centre glue pot and onto the grandstand wing and puts in a good pass here. A lead from Bendigo and a mark from Bendigo. And a good one it was from Mark Clue, right on 50. Bradbury's pass was pinpoint. Now, Bendigo need the next goal. Geelong have edged back in the last 15 minutes. The lead from Williams, over the back Hall. Where's the Crummers? There they go. McDougall, he gives it across to Starbuck. Starbuck's intercepted, and Geelong are going to run it away again with great defence. This time it's Hall. And Hall from the half-back flank. Bad kick across to Hewitt, and Hewitt's put it out of bounds on the full. Paul Hewitt from St Albans. And that was a bad kick under really little pressure, Bill.
Certainly was, and one thing that Geelong been able to do, to crowd up the Bendigo forward line and stop them moving around.
Well, from that resultant free kick taken by McIver, he's given it to Steve McDougall. Half-forward flank under the scoreboard. McDougall puts it within 40 metres of goal. Williams goes up. Huge thump away by Fedke. And it's over the boundary line about 30 metres out from the Bendigo goals. It's under the scoreboard up there at the Barnard Street end. And it's over the boundary line for a throw-in as we see Geelong's Stephen Berry of St Joseph's preparing to come on. Tap down goes Tyack's way. Can he pick up? It goes across now to where McDougall's trying to force his way through. He can't get through. And we're going to see a ball up just 25 metres out from the Bendigo goals. We're 25 minutes into the third quarter in the Country Championship Grand Final. And it's Bendigo in front 11-6-72 to 8-4-52. Geelong take it out of the air there. The big fellow went up in Watt. He couldn't go anywhere, but Geelong have got support there and they clear it away. Good handball, gets it across field where it's taken by Fedke. He kicks down the far wing. Or Tyack works in well. Helps out McIver. Now it's shoveled back to where Lowry can pick up. It's on the true wing position. Lowry did badly there. He kicked off the ground straight to a Geelong player who puts it into the centre where Matty Allen was too big for Michael Lanigan, and Bendigo about to mount an attack.
Matty Allen goes on the left foot looking for Francis Burke out on the wing. Oh, courageous mark, Francis Burke, as he was shoved as he fell to the ground, but still pulled it in. Drives up to Bradbury. Bradbury in the forward pocket, South Bendigo side. Runs into goal, Bradbury. Shot on goal from Bradbury, just offline and fades across the front of goal. Point to Bendigo. Well, a nice bit of play from Matthew Allen across to Francis Burke, and Bradbury running into the open goal from the pocket. Just couldn't quite straighten up the shot enough, and it went through for a point. Driven out from full-back by the Geelong defence. Oh, Burke high up into the air again. Couldn't quite pull in the mark. The ball's on the ground, Stacks on the mill, and the umpire, David Rhodes from Geelong, will ball it up.
Well, Stephen Berry's come on for Geelong, and Bill Mithen, a surprise selection, has come off.
Big surprise.
Ball in the centre-half forward position, Barnard Street end, Bendigo into attack. Patterson goes up in the air, tries to get the ball down. Another Stacks on mill situation has developed from that ball up, and the umpire, David Rhodes, will ball it up once again.
And a very nervous Peter Surridge sipping a 4X in the box here, not looking as happy as he was at half-time.
Ball then the Bendigo area of the ground. Up they go in the air. Oh, I think it was McIver got the punch down. It comes to Starbuck. His snap-on goals offline. It'll trickle over the line in the Bendigo forward pocket. Bendigo got a chance here in the time-on period of the third quarter to register a goal right before the siren.
In fact, it was John Maguire that came off, number 20, not number 10, Mel Eddy.
Well, we're waiting for the boundary umpire to throw it into play again. In the forward pocket, Barnard Street end of the ground. Up they go. Russell Parks gets first hands on the ball. Comes down to ground again. Tyke's got his hand on a Geelong player's jumper, trying to pull him off the ball. But I'd say the umpire's going to ball it up. There won't be a free kick out of that one. And the umpire will ball it up once again in the forward pocket at the Barnard Street end. We've played 27 minutes in the third quarter. Up they go. Good punch out from the pack from Geelong. Geelong drives the ball out wide. Alan Patterson playing a kick behind play will mark it on the grandstand wing for Bendigo. Looking in towards centre half forward. Chance for Bert McIver. Up he goes. He can't pull in the mark, and it's taken down by Mal Eddy. Eddy, the Geelong rover, puts the ball to ground as he runs around an opponent. Looking out on the wing for a player over there, teammate. It could be, it's not Lanigan, it's someone of that size. McDonald. And he's found Lanigan on this occasion on the half-forward line. Lanigan runs towards goal. Long shot from him. One-on-one contest between Green and the Taekwon. Green wins out, gets the ball in front of him. Desperate defence from Chris Green. Still in there working. Hartney comes in to lend assistance, very close to the boundary line. But Green will get the relieving kick in, and he's clapped by the capacity crowd in the grandstand, but only as far as Lanigan once again on the half-forward line. Now Michael Lanigan's about 65 metres out from goal on the half-forward line. Goes for a little chip pass over the head of Taekwon and Green this time. Tyke's backing up, but the ball will beat him over the boundary line in the Camp Hill pocket. Geelong deep into attack.
Ring the bell.
Ball out of bounds, deep in the pocket, forward pocket for Geelong. They're attacking the city end goal. 52 Geelong play, Bendigo 78. From the throw-in, chance for Geelong, snap on goal. Kieran Lowry's marked in the square. Lowry plays on quickly, goes wide, looking for Bradbury. Couldn't get the second bite. Chance for McIver. He's beaten by Berry. Berry picks it up for Geelong, but there's the siren. Three-quarter time and a chance for the Bendigo side to catch their breath. Three-quarter time, the Bendigo Football League, 11-7. And just as I say 73. That, 73, they take the points down. 11-7, 73, the 4X Bendigo Football League, leading Geelong 8-4-52, and Shane, Geelong coming back.
Well, they showed the signs of a quality side that time. They haven't played well all day. They've been lost on this big ground. I think that's what it is. Many visiting sides find it tough here. Unless you pick a real running side, you're always going to find it very, very difficult. But they showed quality when Bendigo got that first goal to get 6 goals in front. They, from there, edged back. At that stage, it was 11-4 to 5-4. So, in fact, Bendigo from there have kicked 3 behinds and Geelong have kicked 3 goals. I don't think Geelong can win. I think Bendigo do look slightly the better side, the better balanced side, and slightly more committed. But when Geelong, a few of their smaller players got into it, I did believe they showed they're as good as Bendigo, there's no doubt. But that break that Bendigo's been able to establish, I think is going to stand them in good stead. I think they'll be as fit. I think they'll be as committed. It would take something special from the country champions to get up from here.
Goal kickers in that third quarter for Geelong, 2 to Rob Gilbert and 1 to Wayne Taekwon, whilst for the Bendigo Football League, solitary goal kicker Lockie Butler. Let's look at some better players from each side now. And Billy, who did you think were some of the better performers for Bendigo?
Well, I thought Starbuck was quite early in that third quarter, but towards the end of that quarter came right back into it. Mark Clue continued to be dangerous, but a little bit quieter. Chris Green doing quite well on Taekwon. Coming down, and Parks was a little bit quiet. Tyak, again, was a busy player for Bendigo. Hartney, ever reliable, and he saved Bendigo on a number of occasions that last quarter. Coming through, Butler was a little bit quiet. Bradbury quiet in the first half of the quarter, but certainly picked it up in the second half. McDougall continued to do well. Frank Burke doing a good job across the half-back line. Harris continuing his good work. And Lee Williams, so he's trying hard. But unfortunately for Lee Williams and for Bendigo, they're crowding the forward line terribly in that third quarter and just left them no room to move. And when you looked at the game, you could see that there was 3/4 of the players were on the Bendigo side of the ground, and when Geelong were able to get the ball and bring it down the ground, they had plenty of room to move.
And Fedke, Watt, Hoyles and Hall, those 4 players in Geelong's defence, combined beautifully that quarter and really did close Bendigo down. Credit to them as well, and not just a criticism of Bendigo, because really that Geelong defence tightened right up and made Bendigo's chances almost non-existent in the second half of that third quarter, Billy.
Certainly did, but in Bendigo's defence, though, they had 3 shots at goal, and all 3 of them could well have been goals. Unfortunately, they just went the wrong side of the post. Having a look at some stats in the third quarter, Hartney continued to do well, as we said, with 5 kicks, 2 handballs and a couple of marks. Frank Burke with 5 kicks, didn't have any handballs and just the 1 mark in that third quarter. Bert McIver, 4 kicks, 3 handballs and a mark. Some of the leading possession getters. Rick Mark Clue continued to do well with 4 kicks, no handballs and 3 marks. And Bendigo in that third quarter had 50 kicks, 19 handballs and 20 marks.
All right, some interesting statistics. Let's look at better players now for the Geelong Football League. And Richard, how did you see them in that third term?
Well, as we mentioned during the call, Jock, those middle-sized players like Gilbert and McDonald would have to rate in amongst their better players. Gilbert, as you said, kicked 2 goals in that quarter of the 3 that Geelong kicked. He'd have to be in the better players for them that quarter. Also, the fellow from North Shore who came on, David McDonald, he did a pretty fair job. John Fitzgerald, the vice-captain and rover, he was also prominent. Big Fedke, I think, probably shaded Parks in that quarter. Fedke played all right in the back line and did pretty well. Brosnan, he picked up a few kicks, and Brad Nichols. Now, there's a player with VFL experience who certainly came into the game in that third quarter, and Brad Nichols was getting on top on his wing, and Coach Neville Strosh, as Billy said, took Ronnie Wicks off the ground and brought Paul McConville on.
He's had 18 possessions, Richard, for the day, Nichols, and like a good drop of port that we often want to have, he's just got better and better.
He is a very experienced player, Brad Nichols, and he plays for the Bell Park Club. In fact, I think he's the only representative from the Bell Park Club in the Geelong side today, but he's done pretty well, and he's lifted his work rates considerably.
Johnny Williams had 8 possessions again that quarter, so he continues to dominate the game. He's had 12 handballs and he's had 14 kicks, so 26 possessions to this point. We all chuckled in the box at the beginning of the game. We thought he'd struggle to run out the match well. He's proven us wrong for 3 quarters, Billy.
Shane, that most of those possessions, I would say, were in the first half of the quarter. As the quarter wore on, he got slower and slower.
Yes, he's worked very, very well, though, and I'd say probably had the edge over Bradbury on the day. Bradbury went out of the centre for a patch in the second quarter, and Butler went in, but certainly as far as Williams' performance goes, a pretty impressive one. And I'd say if Geelong can play another 30 minutes, Jock, like that one, and they had the better of that quarter, there's no doubt. They won the quarter. Bendigo won the first 2. Geelong won that one, and they were 30 points down. They're now 21. They won the quarter by 9 points. If they can win this next quarter again, we could still be in for a cliffhanger.
Well, I went out and had a talk, listened to the Geelong coach at 3/4 time, and he was on that point. He was saying the game has turned, and all the players said yes, but we failed at turning, and he asked them if the game means enough to them, then they should be able to go on and win. He said you've got to put the body in harder, get back to the basics, and really stressing that it's up to them. Neville Strosh similarly said it was up to you, and all the things you'd been working for were now about to come to fruition, and it was all up to them. So both coaches just asking the players every single bit of effort they could possibly get.
Well, in championship matches like this, of course, as is wont to happen, the coaches will ask the question at three-quarter time, and as we've said before, only one side will give the right answer.
Well, before the game yesterday at Windy Hill, Jock, John Todd asked his players were they VFL, and I thought they were going to go out and prove they were, but it worked the other way. Let's hope for Bendigo's sake that the Blue and Golds can work home. Well, look, you saw the game at Albury. I didn't. They were under pressure at three-quarter time. I think you had the jitters along with a lot of other people, but they came out, they lifted, they went on with it. What's your thoughts now? You've seen them come right through this campaign. Can they go on and win it?
Shane, similar style of game to Lavington, where we got out to a great start, 5 goals, 2 odd in the first quarter, and 1 to the Ovens and Murray. But for the next 3 quarters, Ovens and Murray chipped away and chipped away and chipped away. But we always had that little bit of something to come back with. And whilst we were never going to go away to a big win, I don't ever think we were going to lose the game.
Okay, it's the country champions we're playing today. Is it probably a little bit better quality opposition?
Well, it was very hard to judge. Of course, that game played in atrocious conditions, but I guess it all gets back to that word commitment.
Yep.
There is no doubt whatsoever in my mind that Bendigo's 21 players this afternoon are the most committed 21 country footballers in Victoria, and I'm sure that will see us in good stead in the next 30 minutes of football.
Looks like Frank Burke's off, and that's bad news as young Higgins comes on to a forward flank. Was it his wrist or his arm that was bandaged there, Billy? Could you see?
It was his wrist, Shane. He put a tackle on in front of a player here right in front of us and immediately grabbed the wrist in pain, and certainly he's going to be a bad loss if he's off the ground.
Brendan Dreschler may be able to get some information from Alan Besley about that. Alan's been down listening to the coaches, and Michael Lenigan also may be off the ground as well. We'll just check on that shortly, but certainly Lenigan's going to be a player in this last quarter. No, he's still on, but possibly just favouring a leg, and it'll be interesting to see if he can run out the game, because he's a very, very important player to them, Lenigan, and even in the clinches in that quarter, he was one of the players who kept driving forward. The knee, in fact, it might be, as we have a better look at Mike Lenigan out there, and the Geelong captain would dearly love to make it 2 country championships in a row. Ballarat did it in the early 80s. The Geelong League say we're as good as Ballarat were. We can win 3 in a row. Well, the question's got to be asked of them right now, or is it the beginning of a Bendigo era? Can Bendigo be the league to go into the 1990s with the 89 championship under their belt, and maybe 1990 and 91 to look ahead to? Well, it's all going to happen in the next 30 minutes. You'll know here on 3CCC Footy. Jock Clark's about to head us into this exciting final quarter. Bendigo 21 points in front. Fingers crossed. Let's hope that big word commitment comes off, Jock, as we take up the last quarter of action in the Country Championship Grand Final.
Umpire Rhodes holds the ball aloft. There's 30 minutes away from a championship for one of these sides. Geelong looking for back-to-back to defend the title. Bendigo looking to grab it for the first time in 17 years. There's the bounce. Patterson wins it down. Harris dives on top of the football. Nobody can get it out. Umpire Byers very quick with a whistle on this occasion, and he'll bounce it to start proceedings again. Still slap bang in the middle of the Queen Elizabeth Oval, the home of country football. From the bounce, over the top Furman. It's taken by Steve McGougal. A scrappy kick, only goes as far as Watt. He kicks into a wall of players. Nobody can get it out. Free kick, first clear kick of the last quarter, goes to Bendigo, taken by Darren Harris. Harris goes wide, looking for Bradbury. He's got space and marks. Bradbury plays on now, hand pass to Allen. Allen runs to half forward, long, high, into the square. Williams couldn't get the second bite. Ball hits the deck, nobody can take it, and the umpire will bounce the ball 15 metres out directly in front of Bendigo's goal.
And if that hadn't have been 15 metres out directly in front, I think it might have been a free kick to Bendigo.
From the bounce now, up there doing the heavy work. Parks for Bendigo, couldn't get it down. Chases on his hands and knees. McConville for Bendigo, can't take it. Stacks on the mill. Williams got an airy. The Geelong defence under pressure. They get it out now, but there's nobody home. Alan Patterson marks inside 50. Plays on. Snap and goal. He's put it through. He's put it through for the Blue and Golds. Bendigo moved to 12-7. 79, leading Geelong, 8-4-52, 3 minutes gone, final quarter, and if that doesn't lift Bendigo, nothing will this afternoon.
Well, the Golden Square captain read it beautifully, that kick behind the play, and I just wondered when he'd marked it, Anthony, whether he'd go back or whether he'd steam in, and that he did, and the Golden Square captain put it right through the centre.
As Jock said, a real lifter.
Back in the centre now, bounce of the ball. Patterson's there, but it's fisted backhand fashion by Furman. Lenigan can't take it. Harris is grabbed. Play on the call. Mark Lou feeds it out to Matt Allen. In the centre of the ground now. Allen drives Bendigo forward. Looking for Tyak. Couldn't mark. Goes back on the football. Picks it up nicely. Turns Tyak. Fires a pass. Looking for Bradbury. Can't mark. Clever football, Ron Watt. He marks at centre half back for Geelong.
Played a great game.
Watt now plays on. Shifts play across to the grandstand side. Finds a teammate in Mark Hall. Played on when maybe he shouldn't have. Gets it up to Brosman. Caught with the football. Umpire Byers sees it the same way. Penalty free kick to Rick Marklew of Bendigo on the half-forward flank.
Took a long time to make up his mind, the umpire.
Chance now to mount something, Marklew for Bendigo. He goes long, looking for Bradbury, but big player in the road was Feetke, and he takes a strong grab. He feeds out now to a teammate. Running past that player was Hoyles. Long left foot kick up to the wing. Nobody can mark. In there for Bendigo, Hartney. Kick off the ground by Geelong's Maletti. Gets it up to half forward for them. Matty Allen under pressure for Bendigo. A Geelong player grab without the football. Nobody can get it out. Finally, the umpire blows the whistle. He'll bounce the football at half forward with Geelong into attack.
I saw Matthew Higgins is on the field. I don't know who's off, Jock, but Higgins is on.
Burke off.
Burke's off, and the Bendigo started with McConville at full forward, Williams in the forward pocket, and Matthew Higgins under Nichols on the wing.
Bounce of the ball, grandstand side of the ground, half forward for Geelong. The ball taken by Brosnan. Feeds a hand pass out to Berry on the ground for Geelong. Goes into the forward pocket. Green falls over. Chance for Tyquin. Swamped by Bendigo defenders. A chance now, the ball kicked away by Hartney. Close to the boundary line. Over it bounces. Very close to going out on a full, but it didn't. And there'll be a throw in about 20 metres around from Geelong's behind post. 12-7 Bendigo. Geelong 8-4. 5 minutes gone, first term.
Lee Williams off and Peter Crone on for Bendigo.
From the throw in now, Patterson goes up, misses it. The ball taken by Williams, has a shot over his shoulder. Hartney under the football, ridden into the turf. Umpire blows the whistle, but he's going to bounce it very close to the boundary line, and in fact it's only about 20 metres out from Geelong's goal.
Brilliant commitment there by Hartney. He just fell under the Geelong player's body. Great effort.
From the bounce now, John Williams grabs it out of the ruck, gets a hand pass. The Geelong player grabbed, couldn't get a kick away. It's desperate stuff in the forward pocket. A chance for Harris. He gets a hand pass in front of himself, throws himself bodily after the football again. The boundary line too close, and it's over and out. Bendigo working it back out of their danger zone, and it's on the half-back flank for them. Swimming pool side of the Queen Elizabeth Oval, 5.5 minutes gone in this last quarter of championship football. From the throw-in, Patterson in front, wins it down. Geelong with the numbers there. The ball's taken. A screw over the left shoulder, centres it. Flyers needed. Nobody can complete the mark. McDougall there. That's Andrew for Bendigo. Can't get clear with the football. Harris is in there. He gets a scrappy old kick along the ground. Puts Geelong in possession. They've got a chance now coming through with Appleford. Appleford's kick up to the point of the goal square. Tyquin, did he grab Green? No whistle on play. On the ground, Green battles hard. Whistle on play now. Free kick to Bendigo. Great work, Chris Green. What he's had to do today, he's done well and typifies the commitment of Bendigo. Green goes wide, half-back flank. Chance out there for Parks. He's content to see it over the boundary line. And it's in for a throw-in on the half-forward flank for Geelong. Grandstand side of the Queen Elizabeth Oval. Here's Shane Healy to describe the action.
6 minutes into the last quarter. Bendigo in front of the Country Championship Grand Final. 12-7, 79 to 8-4, 52. Funny old throw-in. Almost fell down there toward Bertie McIver. And his kick is smothered by a desperate Bill Mithen. And we're going to see a ball up. Those two Bendigo changes again, please, Billy Ashby.
Was Peter Crone on and Lee Williams off.
And the other one,
Frank
of course,
Burke off and Matty Higgins on.
Thanks, Bill. Now there's the ball up. Big thump away that time by the big fellow in Furman. It went 20 metres Geelong's way. It's on the 50-metre line, half-forward flank, grandstand side, South Bendigo Social Club Room's end. Here's Anthony Hudson.
I'm interested to know why Williams would be taken off at this stage. I
think probably they felt with McConville and Williams there in the pocket, they didn't have quite enough height, and Crone just that little bit taller, but Williams has marked well today, and I'd share your anxiety on that one, Anthony. Now, after the throw-in, Tyak certainly went in hard there. He's worked like a terrier all day, the little fellow. Been a wonderful game. He can't even get up and take this kick. That tackle was so heavy. He's just on his feet now. Lowry was going to take it, but no, he's got up Tyak and he's going to take it, so a great effort. Tyak could be in your top 4 or 5 Bendigo players, I'd say. Don't think anyone would argue with that. He goes looking for Butler. Crone came over the back. But well played Geelong on the ground. It was picked up by Mark Hall. His kick smothered. Taken here now by Lockie Butler. Oh, in goes Mark Clue. Buried buried by Fedke, and Mark Clue's going to take a free kick on the true wing position.
Russell Park said, see that umpire, how he rode him to the ground? He umpired it well, Parksy, there, because he said to the umpire, he was ridden into the ground, and he said the umpire gave the free kick to Mark Clue.
Mark Clue's kick along the grandstand wing. Butler the target again. Across comes Big Fedke of St Joseph's, playing in the Geelong League colours today, and he's forced it over the boundary line. Right in front of our broadcasting position here. We're 8 minutes into the last quarter. Geelong win it away. Furman, he got it down here now to McDonald. David McDonald along the wing. Patterson's got the height. He's got the front berth, and he's got the grab. Hand passes backwards to Hartney. Hartney goes further backwards to Lowry. Oh, they're putting plenty of pressure on here through Fitzgerald, but Bendigo should win through weight of numbers. They're fiddling. They're Lairising just a shade, but now Steve McDougall wins it on the wing. He drives a long one down looking here for Starbuck. Furman got in front. Ball hits the ground. Little Matty Higgins just on. Feeds it on to Starbuck. Starbuck under pressure. Kicks for the square, but that little bit of pressure by the Geelong defenders has made the kick go astray, and Hall's taken the mark. He goes wide looking for Michael Lenigan. It's great to see Lenigan back on the Queen Elizabeth Oval again. He chips the short one into Nichols right in the centre of the ground, and Nichols has got the mark, the boy from Bell Park. He drives to centre half forward. Tyquin leads. Couldn't take the mark. Green uses the body well. Through goes McDonald. Oh, caught with the ball surely. He tried to get through 3 or 4 tackles. Andrew McDougall's was the last one, and Bendigo are standing up to the Geelong challenge at the moment. We've reached 9 minutes of the last quarter. We're going to count them down for you one by one here as Bendigo take a mark on the far wind through Rick Mark Clue. It was a ripper. He drives long now towards centre half forward. The target here will be Crone, and Crone nearly grabbed it. On the ground, Geelong rove it out well. It was taken by Mithun. His hand passes astray. Bendigo fly in through Mark Clue. It's on that boggy cricket pitch area there. True centre half forward. Umpire letting it go as Bendigo race in again. This time the player for them is Lockie Butler. He tries to feed it out to Bradbury. Umpire says there's a tackle. Finally, well, I mean, there was 10 free kicks in that passage of play. He's finally pulled out one, and it's gone Geelong's way to Watt. Now, Watt sees Hewitt wide, and Hewitt's got space. He's got away from Higgins there. He drives up to the half-forward flank. Oh, Tyquin gives Green a shove. Well done. Good use of the body. He races in. He's on the ground. Hartney tackles hard. Bendigo's defenders won't give the Geelong players an easy kick. Johnny Williams goes in. It's only 30 metres out from the Geelong goals, but Hartney clears again. A great effort to a very open centre area. Bradbury's got 2 to beat, and they are the big fellow in Watt and also Michael Lenigan right on his tail. Bradbury falls over with the footy. He'll have to get rid of it. He does so. A big pack develops, and the umpire's paid it against Bendigo, I think.
Unbelievable.
He's saying you should have shoveled that one out, Kieran Lowry. And a little bit ticky-touched because he hasn't paid those all day. Watt took the free kick, drove down looking for Eddie, but Brendan Hartney, safe and reliable, takes the good mark and drives wide where Matty Allen's running, and he's on the half-back flank out of side on 50. He drives down the wing, and young Higgins has chipped in to take a good mark for the Bendigo side. He's on the far wing position. He gets it moving quickly onto Bradbury. The hand pass wasn't a good one. Bradbury needs support here. Now it falls for the Geelong side as they get it moving again. This time Martin on the ground from Grovedale. He drives to the 50-metre mark. Bendigo desperate again. Hartney and Lowry working in unison with Andrew McDougall. Chip a short one, and Matty Higgins has got it. He's on the half-back flank on the scoreboard side of the ground with Bendigo in front 12-7 to 8-4 at the 11-minute mark of the last quarter.
Matthew Higgins has his first kick in the Interleague Grand Final, and he drives it up towards Rick Mark Clue, but it comes off hands and goes out of bounds in the swimming pool side of the ground, far wing. Well, it's 12-7, 79 Bendigo. Geelong 8-4, 52. The ball's thrown back into play. Up goes Big Crone. Oh, it's brought out of the pack beautifully by Mark Clue. He's another one in your best 3 or 4 players, Mark Clue. But it comes down to Fedke, and the big fellow pulls in the mark at centre half back. Fedke goes towards centre half forward for Geelong. Waiting down is Lowry. He feeds the handball out to Bertie McIver. Taps on to Tyack. Tyack running to Starbuck. Starbuck's got space. Here's a chance for Bendigo. Starbuck goes round his opponent onto the left foot. Little chip pass. Peter Crone can't pull it in, but Tyack's roving. He kicks it in front of him. Lenigan relieves for Geelong and drives out wide to Pat Brosnan. Brosnan's got the ball on the grandstand wing for Geelong. Balks around an opponent beautifully, drives in towards full forward, one-on-one Green and Tyquin. Tyquin tries to pull it in, he doesn't succeed. Snap on goal by a Geelong player in Eddie, goes along the ground towards the point post at the Barnard Street end and has beaten them all out of bounds in the far side, in the pocket, but there's a free kick.
Maybe deliberate, I'm not sure.
Yes, paid for deliberate against Kieran Lowry.
Brought in board by Geelong. No, not paid. The Geelong player tried to play on and chip it into Johnny Williams.
And that kick that he gave to Williams was a shocker, and Geelong would have been in trouble. He's getting another go at it, luckily for him.
The player here's run around the mark. Shot on goal from Geelong. Looks okay. It's Maletti, the player. 1 point only. No, it faded across the face of goals as Eddie ran in. Point only to Geelong when a goal was needed.
Poetic justice.
And the Geelong attack Scoring points when a goal's needed, and the Bendigo defence hanging on grimly. Well, Green now waiting for Tyquin to give the ball back to him. It's come from the crowd. Finally, Tyquin's got the ball back to Green. Green's going to bring it out towards the grandstand side. Who's out here for Bendigo? There's Matty Higgins and McIver, but neither of them can pull it in. Pat Brosnan had a shot on goal. It's fallen short. Bendigo comes in through numbers. McIver works the ball out. Tyack there gets it very athletically as it bounces in front of him, and he finds Stephen McDougall, and McDougall pulls in a good mark as the ball was going over his head.
Solid contributor all day.
Stephen McDougall, long kick towards half forward, looking for big Peter Crone. Crone's up. He might have pulled the mark, and it's paid. Should be paid. It is a mark. Mark Hall says he tapped the ball in front of him, but Crone plays on. Offloads the ball to Parks. Parks goes in towards centre half forward, but no one home there. Ronnie Watt for Geelong relieves. Drives the ball out to Michael Lenigan on the far side of the ground. Geelong in space now. Lenigan finds a teammate out there in Rob Gilbert. Gilbert plays on into the pocket. Looking up there for Berry, the new player onto the ground. Ball eludes him. Allen does well. Gets the ball out towards the boundary line, and Andrew McDougall relieves the pressure and brings the ball back towards Paul McConville. McConville's marked for Bendigo on the half-back flank. Geelong still trying to bridge this gap, but Bendigo hanging on well by just a shade over 4 goals. Mark out there to Mark Clue of Bendigo. Been a good player all day for the blue and golds. Drives in towards centre half forward. Over Bradbury's head. Crone's on the ground. Taps the ball out. Bradbury lays on a good tackle on a Geelong player. The ball's on the ground, but I fancy the umpire will bounce it almost in the true centre of the field.
9 out of 10 players would have been paid a push in the back against them there, but Bradbury's professional tackle made sure he brought him down in a legal manner. It was a great effort from Bradbury there.
Ball bounced in centre field. Up they go. Up before acceptances, actually, and Geelong worked the ball out. But Karen Lowry, been steady on the half-back line all day, has marked for Bendigo. Good long kick from Bradbury, looking up there for McConville. McConville gets the ball in, snaps the ball back towards goal. Here's a chance for Harris. Ball's worked in front of him by Paul Hewitt. Comes out from defence. The Geelong player pulled to the ground. No free kick paid. The umpire's got the hands clutched firmly to the chest. That means he's going to ball it up, and he runs in, and the ball's inside the 50-metre mark. Bendigo half forward flank, far side of the ground. Bendigo going to the city end goals this quarter, and Geelong to the Barnard Street goals. There's a slight hold up in play because there's a Bendigo player down. Billy will just have to try and pick him up.
I think it might be McConville with cramp.
The trainers are over there with him. He's up off the ground now, and this will allow the umpire a bit of space to bounce it.
Darren
well,
Harris.
12-7-79 Bendigo, 8-5-53 Geelong. In the vital last quarter of the Interleague Grand Final, the Vic Health Country Championships, and Geelong come away from the pack up towards Lenigan. Geelong mounting another attack now. We've played 15 minutes in the last quarter. Good left foot kick from Hall up towards full forward, over Tyquin's head, over Green's head. Geelong player running on, but the umpire's got his hand. The umpire's got his hand up, and there's going to be a free kick at the Geelong half forward line.
Bendigo with an interchange. Frank Burke back onto the field and McConville off.
Yes, Burke's gone to full forward, and so that should give him a bit of a strength, and Geelong really need to kick a goal here.
This is Tyquin, about 45 metres out from goal. Goes with the long drop punt. It might fade across the face of goal. We'll wait on. No, it's through. Oh, a goal to Geelong at the 17 minute mark. The big Wayne Tyquin, his 3rd for the day, and that makes it on the Northwest Country Credit scoreboard. Bendigo 12 goals, 79. Lead Geelong 9-5. 59, and we've played about 17 minutes in the last quarter.
They're a class act, the Geelong Football League. There's no way known they're going to give anything to Bendigo easy this afternoon. Back in the centre now, Geelong 9-5, trailing Bendigo 12-7. From the bounce, Patterson goes up. It's fisted forward by Bradbury, only as far as Watt of Geelong. He kicks up to half forward. Nobody can mark. In there battling hard for Geelong was Berry. Can't escape with the football. Bradbury does it nicely. Kicks to half forward looking for Parks. Use of the body. Free kick against Russell Parks. Very ordinary decision by the Geelong umpire, David Rhodes. And a free kick will go to Fedke at centre half back. Fedke goes long, up to centre half forward. Big Williams comes over the top of the pack, couldn't mark. Berry kicks Geelong forward. Tyquin and Green. Green fists it away. Well done, Chris Green. Picked up by Lowry. He goes wide on the left foot and finds Higgins. Higgins now in space. Poor kick off the side of the boot in the centre of the ground. Allows Furman of Geelong to pick it up. It's a high kick, up and under. Geelong have got nobody under the football, and Kieran Lowry takes a relieving mark on the half-back flank. Lowry, plenty of experience, goes short, finds Patterson, couldn't complete the mark. He's backed up by Hartney. Hartney's kick a poor one again. In the centre of the ground, it's Fedke of Geelong. Picks it up, goes to Lenigan at half forward. Feeds a hand pass out in the direction of Williams. The ball dived on by Tyak. He locks it up, and the umpire will bounce the ball just inside 50. Geelong into attack. We've played 18 and a half minutes of time in this final quarter, and Bendigo hanging grimly to their lead. 12-7-79. Geelong 9-5-59. From the bounce up at half forward for Geelong. A chance for Butler. Can't take the football. Loose ball goes wide to the player out there in Brosnan. Brosnan of Geelong feeds a long hand pass. Intercepted by Allen. Allen gets a short kick along the ground, close to the boundary line. In there battling hard for Bendigo's Matty Higgins. The umpire blows the whistle. Bendigo successfully locking the ball up on that occasion, and he'll bounce it yet again on the half forward line for Geelong, this time on the swimming pool side of the Queen Elizabeth Oval. Bendigo 79, Geelong 59, 20 points the difference, 19 minutes gone, last quarter. From the bounce, chance for Geelong through Brosnan, can't take the football. Starbuck, good use of the body, he's got it on the wing position. Geelong players fall on top of him, and the umpire has no option but to bounce the ball. Gee, it's tight, it's desperate, and I tell you what, Bendigo would love to get that next goal. That would lift them home, I'm sure of that.
One just has the feeling if Geelong kick the next one, they could still mount something even in the time that's left.
From the bounce, a chance for Geelong through Maguire. Scrappy old kick, but it goes to a teammate out there in Gilbert. Gilbert drives Geelong deep into the forward pocket. Hartney's back there, relieves the pressure yet again. Taken by Matt Allen, but there's a whistle on play.
Out of bounds.
Umpire ruling, the boundary umpire that is, ruling that Matt Allen ran over the line. So the ball will be thrown in as Bendigo were breaking away out of defence. It got to come back, and it will be thrown in a forward pocket for Geelong. From the throw-in now, Patterson in there to do the heavy work for Bendigo. Oh, up over the back, it was taken by Gilbert. He gets it out to a teammate. There's a snap on goal. It's offline, and it's out of bounds on the full. This time it'll be a free kick to Bendigo, a relieving penalty free kick to be taken by Kieran Lowry right beside the behind post.
Hawthorn 19-7, 121 lead. Richmond 9-12, 66 by 55 points at the MCG.
Lowry now with nobody on the mark, plays on quickly, goes to the wing position, and it's a mark to Bendigo, must play the man in front, and a player who's been a great serviceable player all day for Bendigo, Rick Marklew, pulls in the grab. Marklew now goes over the wing position, up to half forward, chance for Parks, and Parks is marked. No, whistle on play, free kick to Bradbury. Bradbury now wastes no time, goes to Higgins in space. Higgins runs inside 50, short kick looking for Tyre, can't take it, chance for Crone. Picks up the football, screws it back on the left foot, and Steve McDougall's mark 12 metres out, directly in front. Steve McDougall of Bendigo, a chance to put another one on the board for the Blue and Golds. He's 12 metres out, as I said, directly in front. Good work from Big Peter Crone, never gave up, screwed it back on the left foot. Waiting on now, Steve McDougall, plenty of experience. He's sunk it right through, and I tell you what, Shane, that just might be the one.
Well, 3 goals now to Steve McDougall, and that might just be the country championship for Bendigo. Geelong have thrown everything at them, but Bendigo have had all the answers. They're now 26 points in front. Terry Emon's head just sagged a little bit there because he saw the time clock hit 22 minutes, and it would really be a miraculous effort from here for a side to get up.
It was really depending on who was going to get that next goal as to who would win the game. And
Geelong 9-5-59, trailing Bendigo 13-7-85 from the bounce in the centre of the ground. A chance for Bradbury, does it nicely, locks the ball in, nobody can get it out. Darren Harris dives on top of the football, umpire goes in and he'll bounce it again right in the centre of the Queen Elizabeth Oval. Here's Shane Healy to continue the action.
Well, at 23 minutes, the time clock ticks on. 17 years have ticked on since Bendigo held the country premiership cup aloft, but today looks like being the day for the mighty Blue and Golds on the most famous ground in country Victoria, here on the Queen Elizabeth Oval. And now it's Bendigo attacking it out of the centre. Steve McDougall, he's been a workhorse all day. He follows the ball to the boundary line and sees it over for a throw-in. And as the late Dick Turner say, we're almost looking down their jumpers here at the Queen Elizabeth Oval now, as they're going to throw that ball back into play with Bendigo in front 85-59. There goes the throw in. Parks versus Furman. Furman won it down. He got it down to where Nichols tries to balk through, but McDougall sharks it well. Great tackle, but he got it onto Bradbury, and Bradbury's found Tyack. And Tyack went up there. He went up beautifully like a trampolinist, and he came down with a footy, and he's got it just 35 metres out, and he's as good as directly in front. And I'll tell you what, this is Tyack's maximum distance.
Certainly is, and Tyack flew as though he was on a trampoline because he's only a little man, but he got a long way off the ground.
This would almost give him best on the ground if he could snare this from me, and he snared it all right. There's the championship for Bendigo. You can put down the glasses at the QEO, because in about 5 minutes' time, Brendan Hartley and Neville Strosh will be holding that Vic Health Cup aloft, and they'll have the big 10,000 smackaroos in their back pocket, with Bendigo 14.791 and Geelong 9.559. It's getting a little bit cool here at the Queen Elizabeth Oval in Bendigo, but we're all pretty warm here in the box, and we're enjoying Bendigo reverse that result of last year.
The master of understatement, Shane Healy.
There's the bounce.
Up they go in the air again. It's worked out towards Ronnie Watt. Solid play, but Bradbury steals the ball from him. Bradbury going in towards full forward. Parks uses the body, runs onto it well. Russell Parks snaps the goal. Russell Parks, and he's put it through the middle. Russell Parks has goaled, as he did at Ovens and Murray in the last quarter, and a great bit of play from Bradbury as he came out of the centre. Russell Parks ran into the goal, used his body, hipped the player out of the road and shot it right through the centre.
4 goals, Russell Parks, and those much talked about floodgates are opening.
Great goal, Russell Parks. Good play, Peter Bradbury from the centre, and Geelong have got the staggers in the last concluding few minutes, and Bendigo look like they're going to be coming off any old time now and singing the blue and gold song. I hope they know the words.
And I've just sent Mark Haig for the 4X.
Up they go in the centre again, tapped out towards Bendigo, worked on there by the Bendigo players, but the Geelong defence come away through interchange player Maguire. Hartney marks the ball at half-back. He finds McDougall on the grandstand wing, and McDougall's pulled the safe mark in right on the BFL logo. He drives towards full forward, looking for Parks. Parks goes up, taps it away. Tyack tries to get it down. Hall goes in there hard for Geelong and works the ball away. Geelong will get the ball away in numbers from the back line. It finally comes out to Brosnan. Brosnan gets it over. Oh, they fiddled around a bit. Let McIver in. McIver goes towards Bradbury. Bradbury's on his own. He handballs off to Higgins. Higgins spills it. Falls over with the ball, Higgins, but will get the handball out to Butler. Butler's running into an open goal. Oh, it comes off hands, and the Geelong defence will run it through for a point. Chance there for Butler, but Hall was in the way, and Hall brought it down to ground and finally ran it through for a point.
Tried to be a little bit too clever then, I think, Lockie Butler.
Higgins' handball was a beauty under pressure, though.
Ball from that point driven out towards half-back. Up they go in the air again. Chance for Higgins. He works it out to Butler. What'll Butler do? Gets the ball off to Hartney. Hartney's up in the forward line. He's had a shot for goal, Hartney, but it's offline over the... It's across the face of goals, and the Bendigo captain scores a point in the winning grand final side.
I think he got as much a shock to be having a shot for goal as you did, Richard.
I think that would have been fitting, though, if he had to put it through.
Well, Brendan Hartley up from the back line, as he did in the Goulburn Valley win. He's running all over the park at the moment. The Bendigo boys have lifted. Patterson goes up for the mark from that kick-off. It's on the ground, worked out by Butler to Hartley. Hartley's had another kick for goal. It's off hands though. Parks flew high in the full forward line. He couldn't quite pull it in, and Hartney's kick goes off hands for yet another point. Well, Bendigo are locking the ball up in the forward line. Geelong's got no chance to get it up to their end of the ground. From that kick in, Nichols has marked. The wingman, the Bell Park wingman, has marked in the back pocket for Geelong. He goes up looking for big Fedke. Comes off Crone's hands. Here's a chance for John Fitzgerald. Good tackle by Frankie Burke, and he's pulled this player, Fitzgerald, over the line, and it's out of bounds.
27-minute mark, the final quarter. 15-10 Bendigo, Geelong 9-5.
That's beautiful, Billy. That's music to my ears.
Well, umpire Wayne Byers from the Goulburn Valley is going to bounce the ball right in front of our commentary position. Up they go in the air. Crone knocks it to the boundary line. Good play, Peter Crone, saving valuable seconds here, and the ball's out of bounds right in front of the press box. Bendigo 15, 10, 100. Geelong 9, 5, 59. And Crone will go up in the air again, looking for Mark Clue. He couldn't quite pull it in. Chipped off the ground there by Ron Watt. Been a good player for Geelong all day. Hartney picks up the kick, works the handball to Francis Burke, then to Bertie McIver. McIver sees the Butler in space. It's kicked off the ground away from that player by Mauletti for Geelong, and it's in the centre of the ground at the moment. Ball's running loose. Geelong work it away to the John Hoyles, and Hoyles will find Williams at centre half forward. He spills what he should have taken, Williams. It comes off hands. Hartney's now on the other end of the ground in the back line, and he's relieved the pressure to Stephen McDougall, and Stephen McDougall pulls in a mark right on his bootstraps. This is Stephen McDougall, the Eagle Hawk player, looking for Bradbury. Bradbury uses the body well and sees the ball across the line as he punches it clear of Ron Watt. I tell you what, Ron Watt has worked very, very hard indeed for the Geelong side this afternoon.
Agree.
Well, the clock's ticking away. Only moments left in this game. Bendigo well in charge of the grand final here, the Country Championships grand final. Bradbury's on his knees right in front of us here, and he's trying to tunnel the ball out to a teammate, but the umpire's pulled out a free kick, Billy Ashby, and there's a free kick going to Geelong.
Well, pulled it from somewhere, but I don't know where.
It's all immaterial at this stage as Ron Watt of Geelong. Oh, kicks into the man on the mark. Taken by Harris. Harris gets it to Butler. Butler to the running Tyack. Inside 50. Tyack shoots for goal. He's pushed. Won't make the distance. Starbuck runs the ball down. Close to the boundary line. Can't keep it in. Yes, he can. Now his Geelong opponent forces it over. And there'll be a throw in 10 metres around from the behind post with Bendigo into attack.
If that was deliberate at the other end of the ground, why wasn't that deliberately out of Healy?
28 minutes gone, final quarter, Bendigo 15-10, Geelong 9-5 from the throw-in. Geelong running out of defence, up to the wing position, and a mark's taken by David McDonald. McDonald hands off quickly to a running teammate through the wing, up to half forward now, looking for Williams. He's beaten by Lowry. There's not a lot left in the Geelong players' legs. Lowry goes to half forward. Oh, in front, good mark. He's been a good player all day, and that's Hoyles. Hoyles hands off to Hewitt. Hewitt goes up to half forward again for Geelong, but again a Bendigo mark. The player this time, Lowry, by G, in his 21st interleague appearance. He's been a tireless worker across that half-back line for the Blue and Golds. Lowry plays on quickly, goes to the wing, grandstand side. Butler a chance, can't keep the ball in play, and it's over and out of bounds for a throw-in. Right in front of the grandstand. There's the siren. Big Health Country Champions for 1989, the 4X Bendigo Football League. A fantastic effort by this group of fellows. We're all extremely pleased and proud of them up here. Final score, Bendigo 15-10, 100. Defeat Geelong 9-5, 59. I tell you what, Shane, I'm pretty emotional. I've got to catch the breath. Billy, a fantastic effort in the end by Bendigo.
Certainly was a steamrolling last quarter. They just ran right over the top of Geelong. They kicked 4 goals to 1 in that final quarter. A great effort, and the players were just dominant. They had too many legs, too much run, and too much spring in their bodies for Geelong today.
All right, we'll take a short break to get our breath back here, and then we'll come back and summarise this great game of country football. You've heard it all on 3CCC FM.
You beaut, eh? Yeah. Oh, a couple of Good on them. Fantastic, that's great. 17 years, Greg. On we do it. Yep. Mick wouldn't begrudge Bendigo winning, I wouldn't think.
Pretty hard to forget, only 30 seconds ago.
Here's Mark. You're a beauty, Mark.
You're doing an exceptionally good job, my son.
I can feel the Florex coming on.
I'm doing Castlemaine dry.
Hello.
Good on you, Mark, hey. Well done, mate. Thank you. You having one, Anthony?
I'm actually driving, actually. I don't know. Mine.
Hey, jockey.
Driving? Hey, you driving?
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Neil.
Well, boys.
Get into one, mate. Yep. 10, 15 minutes? Come up for a sec. $15.10 to 9.5. How are you, mate? Good to see you. Yeah. Football-wise, well, all the heifers are very good players. Linton and Garrett, very good. Saul hasn't got much ability to. So I'd say just...
Could we have your attention for a couple of moments, please,
Linton
for the official presentation
Gareth is a
of the 1989 Big Hill Division 1 Championship Cup to the Bendigo Football League.
Right.
I'd like to call on Mr. Graham Wiedemann from the Victorian Health Promotion Foundation to make the presentation to Bendigo's skipper Brendan Hartney and coach Neville Strosh.
Bit of a wild streak in him. Yeah. You'll sort him out. Yeah. Oh, great. That was a great win, wasn't it?
To the Bendigo Football League, congratulations for your wonderful win today.
They're about to come back on here. Good to see you, Ray. No worries. Ballarat kids play well. It was a good win.
Because you played a stout game, but on home ground advantage, you may have been a little
welcome
short.
listeners indeed at 1FM 106.9 in Sheffield for our summary here this afternoon.
Victoria's team who have now won the Vic Health Country Football Championship Division 1 Grand Final. Well done, it was a great game. First of all, I'd just like to thank Mick and the Geelong boys. They really have been a worthy champion over the last year, and I think our defeat down there last year really set it up for us this year. I know the players were very, very keen to do well, and that was in front of their home crowd. To our blokes, well, first of all, I'd like to thank Neville Strosh. I think he's a great coach. I think he should be appointed for about the next